What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Man, how about that countdown music from Jeremy Harvey? I mean, he's been around the channel for a long time talking about making sounds, and he's made all the sounds on the channel. I cannot thank him enough for his contribution and for getting this one in here with the Latin America theme. It's just absolutely awesome. I love it. My foot just keeps tapping uncontrollably. So I know he's not here. Oh, there he is. He just popped into chat. Yes, Jeremy, I'm still dancing, man. Every single time I listen to that song, it gets me fired up. I cannot wait. All this flying is making me think about actually planning a little vacation with the family down to South America, because this is just, this is awesome. I can't wait to get at it today. We're going to do a couple things different. Number one, I think the stream, I'm pretty sure it is, the chat is for subscriptions only, and you only have to be subscribed for a minute in order to chat. But I'm doing this to help remove some of the trolling, some of the ads. You know, we got the Tinder bots. I know Gustavo loves the Tinder bot, but unfortunately, my friend, we're going to have to see if we can put a pause to him, at least for the time being. But today it's going to be really fun. We're going to do 2 circling approaches if I am alive for the second leg. It's about 95 degrees in my office right now. It's super hot, so may not have enough in me to do the second leg, but nevertheless, we have one epic approach going into Toncontin. We're going to try to fly that in the RNAV RNP. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the density, altitude, and the effects, because I want to do this on the last stream. We're going to talk about density, altitude, what is it, and the effect it has on the aircraft, especially when coming into land, especially when doing circling approaches or maneuvering at high angles of attack and high drag configuration. So we're going to talk all about that when we get to cruise. That'll be our little topic of discussion. But until then, let's go ahead and get this thing ready to go, shall we? RC Flyer. Oh, you know what? You know what's doubling? Sorry, I just fixed it. Apparently my phone wanted me to start playing my stream on my phone. Interesting. Okay, so I think I paused that. So sorry if you heard that in the background. Also, there is there might be some noise in the background. You'll see just from the there's some workers doing some painting right now. So we'll talk about that density altitude stuff here once we get going. Al W, what's up, man? Good to see you, sir. Gonna watch the replay. Irons in the fire. Yeah, all right, man. Al, thanks for stopping by, man. We'll hope to see you later. Fubar, standby crew is ready. Vitor, good to see you, man. Paul Schuth, Miss Doug Clark, Mr. Scott, Matt Warren, Romulus, Chris Stooper in the house, Mr. Fubar, Flight Force 77, good to see you. Richland Music, Clifton AFM, Robin H, James Monks, Wes Holmes, Mr. Martini, Herman, and many more. Krishna, good to see you as well. Flight Force coming in with the 4-month celebration. What is going on, sir? Thank you so much for your continued support. He says, seems longer, but happy to be part of this community and appreciate all your streams. Hey, Flight Force, thank you so much, man, for your continued support on the channel. It's I really do appreciate y'all, especially all my members. You guys are awesome. That is the #1 way to support this channel. If you are a member, I cannot thank you guys enough. Thank you so much, Flight Force. I hope you continue to enjoy the content, and there'll be many, many more videos to come. So, looks like the music is done. It's time to get this show on the road. So, that is done. And Rusty C, just before we get onto that, look at this airport. This is a nice MROC here by, or excuse me, this is a nice Aurora by, was it MacoSim? Oh no, I can't remember who did this one. But Rusty C, thank you. 14-month subscription. Thank you, man. It says V1 super pumped for today. I got my TCA Boeing. First flight in the FlyJSM 72. Man, it's made for that aircraft. Awesome bit. A bit of kit, but lots of binding. Yeah, a lot of binding to do, Rusty C. Thank you so much for that. I too am looking forward to getting into the TCA yoke again. I think we're going to fly some 146. We might do the 146 here coming up soon. And when we get to Colombia, I do have some good Latin VFR scenery down there. We might have to just dabble back into the 727 just to give it a try with the TCA Boeing yoke, because I've been wanting to use that on some of my favorite Boeings. But all right. I think it's time to get this thing going. You love the livery? Yeah, I'd like the old school Avianca liveries. Funny thing, when I originally got typed on the Airbus, my first instructor I had a couple different ones. He was a retired Avianca guy for a very, very long time. So kind of cool to see that. All right, here we go. Up to the overhead. We are completely cold and dark. We need to get this airplane fired up. 26.3, 27.6. We're going to go battery 1. Battery 2 is on the line. Just Flight dropped a big update for the 146. Yes, I saw that. I'm going to be updating that here shortly as well. Man, I love that high pitch. Did anybody confirm that high pitch screen when you start up is only when you have this configuration? Listen to that spinning up. Do you hear that? It's got to be the gyros. I mean, I know that's gyros, but I wonder if it's only if you have this configuration. That's cool. All right, here we go. Batteries on. Let's go ahead and get the external power online. The aircraft is going to power up. See the power up here of the screens. It's going to do its thing. Phase 1, that gyro spool is a favorite sound? Yeah, it is. Oh, Blue Max, so it is. Okay, that's awesome. That's just detail, man. That's just absolutely awesome detail. Yeah, hearing those gyros, see the flag disappear there. Awesome. Massa, what's going on, man? Welcome. Jeff, I says you inspired me to fly to MGGT yesterday. Did not go well. Jeff, don't worry, man. You can always give it another shot. It's a fun little approach, but like I said earlier, if you're not paying attention, it can bite you. It's one of those approaches that at face value, you're like, oh, it's not too bad. Just do a circle or a radius to join the final here. But you got to pay attention to the notes. You got to pay attention to what the aircraft is doing. And remember, like I always say, if the airplane's not doing something that you don't want it to do, don't sit there and look at it to try to force it to change what it's doing. Take control of the aircraft, turn off the autopilot, or go to selected heading mode, whatever it may be. Do what you need to do to get that aircraft in the position that you need it to do. This is just some old airplane firing up here. All right, up to the overhead. Let's go. Cruise supply oxygen, come on. Ground control, come on. Do a quick CVR test. Beep. That's good. 1, 2, and 3. We'll wait for the on-bat light to extinguish. I'm going to go status 1. There it is, 6 minutes. On-bat light has extinguished. Do the lighting panel here. We're going to go nav position 1. Strobe is in auto, off, auto, arm. Landing elevation is in auto. I'm going to make sure we want to verify that. Everything looks normal here. Fuel tank pumps can stay off. We'll do fire test. Fire test 2. And Phantom already did the APU fire test, so that's good. Up the right-hand side, I'm just going to go ahead and put that into the aft position for now. That's fine. Basically, all you're looking for is lights out here. Make sure the PA knob is out and on the overhead. All right, that is good. To the center console here, everything looks good. Get this out of the way, that's off. And let's take a quick look at our engine page. Oil quantity is good, hydraulics are good, and pressurization, it is an auto. It's hard for you to see, but that is all set and good. And everything else is standby 2000. Excellent, excellent. Let's go ahead and uncage. Douglas says, I caught your Blue XP interview. It was very good, 2+ hours. DJ, I'm glad you liked it, man. Had a lot of fun on that. Had a lot of fun. And Jeremy says, is it realistic to have LCDs with analog standby instruments like we have here? Jeremy, yes, it is. In fact, my buddy sent me a picture the other day. He's in he's flying one of the oldest Airbuses in the U.S. And I told him to send me a picture of it. And it is indeed, Jeremy. Now, there are some, typically, Jeremy, you will see some EIS stuff. You'll see an EIS, obviously this was EIS 1, and then you had standby, and then parts get upgraded. But remember, a lot of these, if not all of these parts, are interchangeable. So if something goes out, they'll change the screens out, and then they're going to leave the analog standby until either they fail or they need to replace them, and then they might put an ISIS in there, which is the integrated standby indicator. Some aircraft, a lot of the new ones are just getting rid of this DDRMI. This is the old school secondary RadNav. But that's, in aviation, a lot of, especially the Airbus and really a lot of airplanes, they don't really do a full retrofit unless they have a budget and they're set to do the full retrofit of the cockpit. A lot of it is, okay, we're going to keep this as long as it's operating, and then when it fails, we're going to swap it out with something new. So, I was flying EIS-2 aircraft with just the ISIS here and still having the old CRT McDoos because the McDoo was still operating just fine. So they never changed the McDoo out, and then when it finally dies, then they change the McDoo out and give you a nice LCD or whatever. Yeah, I think it is LCD, right? The new McDoos. So it's more of a cost thing. Whatever is the cheapest option possible is typically what the airlines are going to do for you. All right, let me go ahead and just do this real quick. We're going to go we're going to go ATSU, and we're going to initialize. We're going to do a flight init. We're going to pull this out here. What is the screen-looking thing at the top of the fuses that you can fold over? Screen-looking thing at the top of the fuses? Not quite sure where you mean. Oh, you mean back here? This is a cockpit video, so you can see who's standing at the lav or out in the front of the cockpit door. That's all it is cockpit video recording. Gina, you made it? Excellent, man. Glad to have you on board, man. Now let's pull it here. You can hold the test running and right-click, look down, check panel. Yeah, I did see that, Vitor. I've did it 1 or 2 times, but we're just gonna for time purposes, we're going to speed it up here. All right, I'll clear all those scratch pad messages out. That's one thing that I wanted to emphasize too. Remember, this is called the scratch pad. You know, it's just scratch pad because whatever you got there. Whenever you have a message in here, be diligent and clear it out first, okay? Your scratch pad should always be blank. You don't want to leave a scratch pad message there because sometimes you'll be typing underneath the message, like if it says GPS primary and then you start typing, you may type the wrong thing. And also, you never want to have the clear prompt active unless you're actively ready to clear something. Because if you like double tap clear or you spam hit the clear button and all of a sudden it just leaves this here, it leaves it active, you can come up here and accidentally clear something. So just be diligent. Always try to keep your scratch pad clean throughout any flight that you're doing. Excuse me, I just had to wolf down my lunch, so got a little bit of hiccups here. All right, we're Avianca 357, cost index of 75. Cruise flight level is going to be 310. And you know what? We need to actually start the boarding process. So we'll get that initialized. And let's come back over here. Let's go back to my flight. And we've got ground services. That looks good. Mass and balance, or weight and balance. 146 people planned with 4,300 pounds of cargo. And I want to adjust this to a minimum of 10,000 pounds of fuel. Min dispatch fuel. 10,000. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and load aircraft real time. 24 minutes is starting now. Loading process has begun. Scratch pad clean, and how will I leave the funny message for maintenance for the next crew? Hey, Gustavo, that's fine post-flight, right? But yeah, you'll find some. I remember I came in here one time, and so it looked like this. Basically, a lot of times you leave the aircraft on this. And then, or actually, no, how was it? I think it was in this page. Maybe not. I think it was in the aircraft status page. And it said, it would look like this. Let me see if I can replicate it. I know where this is real educational, right? Oh, come on. There we go. You know, you see funny messages like that. Oh, I misspelled it. Or did I? Continue. Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen all kinds of funny messages like that. And if you press and hold clear, it should clear the whole scratch pad out. There you go. See, GPS primary. Let's clear that. That's good. All right, we're going to continue with our flow. We're getting distracted here. Now Gustavo's got me doing all kinds of weird stuff. Constraint mode's coming on. We'll get constraint mode on that side as well. We do have a company ACARS. Speaking of ACARS, they're probably mad that we're messing around here. Let's go ahead and pull out the, it's probably just the prelim load sheet. Yeah, I've left multiple funny ones. I've seen some good ones. All right. Oh, this is Telex. This is Hoppy. I did log on to Hoppy's ACARS, but obviously there's no need for it today. But I did hop onto the ACARS system in my Fenix app on the desktop. So that is set in case we ever run into a place where we need to use CPDLC. But we'll leave that for now. Let's just do a weather request here since we're already in this box. We are in where are we? MGGT, right? That's where we're starting out. MGGT is set. We'll send that off. All right, and as far as our flight plan is concerned, we're going to be departing off runway 02, I believe, northbound. And there's no there's no SID in the box. But we actually have some SID, so I don't know if it's a database thing. We're going to take a look at it here. Why is tropo info important? Because the temperature above the tropopause will increase. Now, realistically, flights less than on an average of 3 hours, you're probably not going to have much of a difference. But you do start doing some super long flying, super long en route stuff, tropopause could actually make a difference. Now, I personally have never seen that change of value, but it's just good to be diligent, right? It's in the flight plan. We should change it if we have the new tropo, which you will get in your paperwork. All right, La Aurora departure. Oh yeah, so here we do have our departure here. That's good. All right, our flight plan has us going out to Palin, so we're going to just do the Palin departure. And what this is, it's almost just like a distance DME. So let's see, off of runway 02, we're going to fly 012 to 7,000 feet, then start the right turn to intercept the Rabinal 155 out to Palin. So we're going to have to draw that in the box. We're going to go here, MGGT departure 02. And does it have it? Oh, I think it does have it. It does. Beautiful. Palin out to Lagox. Insert. Beautiful. We'll look at that here in a minute. There's no discos except for the approach, which is normal. We're going to go arrival. Now, what we're going to do today is the RNAV 02, and we're on the VTAN 1. And we're going to approach via TNT, which is the VOR itself. So we're going to overfly Toncontin, and we're going to do the RNP 02 back in. So we're going to insert that. It's a short flight, 238 miles, but everything in there, that looks absolutely beautiful. So flight plan is set. Let's do a quick secondary initialization here. MGGT to MGGT. And secondary, arrival. If we pop one, we'll come right back around. ILS Yankee 02, that's fine. Secondary, perf. Next phase, approach phase. What is the current meter? It's 30.12, so 3012 is set. I am in VATSIM, my Hornet driver. Temperature off the ECAM is 2.1. I wish it was 2.1 degrees here in my office. It's probably about 3.1 or 3.2 in my office right now. We're not going to take any wind to help us out. Barrel ref, wouldn't it like 4,500 feet or something? That's something we should actually look up. We put 4,500 in there. What are we at right now? Oh no, that wouldn't be it. We're at 4,900 feet, so probably 50. Let's just call it 5,200 feet. If we have to come back and we actually need this barrel ref, we got bigger problems than making sure that that is proper. But anyway, we've got our secondary set. RadNav, I'm actually going to hard tune this now. So we're going to hard tune the Rabinal VOR, which is, let's see, how would I do this? Yeah, I want to do the Rabinal VOR. I'm going to hard tune that on number 2, I believe. And then I'm going to have TNT on I'm going to have Aurora on mine, just in case we have to come back. So I'm going to hard tune Aurora. You know what? I'm going to hard tune Aurora on VOR 2, and then I'm going to put RAB on VOR 1. And we're going to hard tune the course of 155 outbound. So 155 is the course here. That is set in case we need something failures or whatever. We'll have at least a good reference there. And then I'm going to just hard tune the airport here without a runway so I know exactly where the center of the airport is. I'm not going to put 02 in the box for this particular departure. I'm just going to put the airfield so I know a quick bearing distance to the center of the airfield. Silent Hunter, what's up, man? Welcome to the stream, sir. All right, 31 is set, 39, 398s are recommended max. That's totally fine. Perf data, nothing to do there. We'll do the init B. Are we done with fueling? We are 10.5. Let's take a look at our fuel tanks. We are balanced, 10.5 up to the overhead. Fuel tanks can come on. Seatbelt sign can come on. And we're going to put block fuel of 10.5 right here. That is done. We have a company message, so let's go ahead and see that. Receive messages, probably got a couple of them. Load sheet. Yeah, initial. Remember, we don't really care about the initial. It doesn't do anything for us. Except, you know what? I actually might run an initial just to see. I'm going to accept it. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Weather data. 200 at 10. Perfect. Not bad at all. Return. What's this? Appreciate you. Whoever sent me the ACARs. Awesome, man. I wish I knew how to respond, but cool. All right, let's look at that real quick. You know what? We're going to just keep that on perf for now. VORs are set. So let's look at our perf data. This is one of those situations, right? We're taking off from an airport, high density altitude, all that good stuff. We're going to do the prelim. We're going to do optimum flap configuration. We are going to force Toga. And you know what? Let's do packs off with anti-ice off. Sync live weather. Let me just see what it comes out with. MROC is your home airport. In fact, I did the Circus Visual last Sunday. Awesome, Silent Hunter. Good deal, man. I'm thinking about going down to Costa Rica for a vacation. All right, 14, 35, 35, flaps 1 Toga. So this is with the packs off. I think we're going to actually do this. It doesn't give you Any other like second segment stuff? Okay, cool. All right, so that's fine. At least we know we're going to be doing a flap 1 Toga takeoff, thrust reduction 5,800 feet. Beautiful. 3012 is set once and set twice. We're going to continue loading. What is our loading status? We'll keep this page up over here. 146 of 68. All right, we probably need to turn the AP on here. What are you going to do after the South America tour? I don't know, Plane Master. We got a long ways to go yet on the South America tour, so we'll cross that bridge when we get there, man. But welcome to the stream. Glad to have you on board. Tor Lai, thank you for the 109 krones. I used to remember what they were. Swedish krones, maybe? Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. Don't see a message with your dono, but I do appreciate your support on the channel. Glad you're enjoying the content. Welcome aboard. Nathan says I never get the second segment on the info on FBO. Okay, I didn't think so. I thought maybe this would be one of those airports where we are, you know, when we talk about high elevation, I mean, look, we're sitting here on the ground. We're already at 5,000 feet, right? If you just round up, we're at 5,000 feet elevation. What does that mean to you as a pilot? What does that mean to you as a simmer? So as you go up in altitude, the aircraft is going to respond differently. And anybody who's flown jets, or even, you know, this even applies to GA aircraft if you can get up high enough. But the performance of the aircraft is degraded the higher you go up in altitude. So you're going to have a little bit slower reaction times for acceleration and deceleration. Your acceleration time is going to be a little bit longer. Your deceleration time is going to take you a little bit longer to slow down as well. The higher the density, the altitude, which is a combination of temperature and altitude, the more that effect is going to be, exaggerated, or it's going to be increased more, right? So even though it's 5,000 foot field elevation, a density altitude right now of 21C with the current altimeter and all that, it might be up to 6,000 or 7,000 feet. So we have to keep that in mind as we go for this takeoff roll. We know the airplane's probably going to have a little bit longer of a takeoff roll. We know if we lose an engine, we're definitely going to have a decrease in performance. So we got to keep an eye on what's our emergency return procedures. That's why I already hard-tuned the Aurora VOR in case I need to come back, because we know that approach. We're going to come right back to the VOR and then continue outbound and join the ILS. Now, it's basically visual, but we do have some scattered clouds around here, so we may need that. Something to have in the secondary here. Exactly, Adrian. That's why Denver has long runways. Exactly. So, yeah, you look at Denver, I mean, they're all in excess of 10,000 feet pretty much, right? Same thing can happen. That's mile high. You go to Denver in the summertime, oh, man, your takeoff rolls are very, very long. Is it possible to join you on VATSIM? Exactly, yeah. We're more than welcome to join on VATSIM, absolutely. Did I figure out tiller disconnect setting with the EFB? Joel, I've got it off. Let me just verify that it is off. Let me go here. What is it? Is it panel states? No. Sim settings. Controls. I have it off. So if I press it down manually, it works. Yellow hydraulics. I got LDEV. We got this all set for this airplane. Yeah. So, I mean, it works. There's no binding for this button here, unfortunately. But I do have it off. And we're going to give that a test before. With this on, when you press this button, it does the opposite. It actually inhibits the rudder from moving at all. So that's maybe, I don't know what they're trying to do with this, but I think maybe this should have been reworded. This is more like rudder disconnect from tiller, maybe. Because the whole point of the pedal disconnect push button is to disconnect the nose wheel steering linkage from the rudder. So you can do a flight control rudder check while taxiing without moving the steering linkage with the rudders. Because on the ground, you know, at low speeds, the rudder and the nose wheel steering actually move a little bit in tandem. So if you see somebody taxiing down the runway, if you're a passenger and you see an airplane going down taxiway and you see the rudder moving a little bit left, 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 a little bit right, that means that pilot is controlling the nose wheel with his rudders, because the rudders are moving that nose wheel a little bit. Now, of course, you get more deflection with the tiller. Anything over than like, I don't know, maybe a 30 degree, that's even a lot. Maybe anything more than like a 15 degree turn, you're gonna be using the tiller because you just don't have the authority with the rudder pedal. Gustav says you only need a 150 or 152 or any old Piper Cherokee to suffer with the density, altitude, and MSL and temps above ISA. Exactly. Exactly. If you go to, especially those airplanes that are just naturally aspirated, like Gustavo's talking about, yeah, it's density altitude is very apparent. I know we used to take students up to Flagstaff, Arizona, which I think is like around 7,000 feet, and you try to take off there. It's sometimes you may not even be able to take off. Now I know in the Twin we used to teach in the Piper Seminole, and if you lost an engine in the summertime coming out of Flagstaff, Arizona, with the high density altitude in excess of 10,000 feet, even single engine, you did not have the performance to climb. You would be coming down no matter what. So it's definitely a concern. I mean, I wouldn't say a concern, but it's something that you must be vigilant about and something that you must have a solid understanding, especially when you start operating in airports that are very susceptible to high density altitudes, such as the airports that we're flying into today. So it's going to be interesting. We'll talk more about that in cruise, of course. But let's take a look at the cabin here. What is the temperature? Oh yeah, 24 degrees. I think it's time to, well, should we open up a window? What's the outside air temp? 21. Let's just get the APU fired up here. I know we're a little bit early, but we're going to cool the cabin down. Having it selected disconnects the pedal from the tiller if I use the disconnect button on the tiller. Having it not selected. Interesting, Santiago. Interesting. I should do American Midwest tour. Maybe in the future. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and fire this thing up and take a listen. One of my favorites. One of my favorites. I like flying into Rio in Colombia. It's a beautiful area. Oh, absolutely, Nathan. I did a Rio flight in the 737 a couple weeks ago. And to this day, it was my turning point. In fact, let's listen to the startup here, and then I'll tell you about it, because I do love flying into Rio. Well, actually, that was in Colombia. I was in Rio in not Colombia. Isn't there Rio? There's a Rio in Sao Paulo, or Rio in Brazil. Drawing a blank. Love it. Europe tour would be cool. We already did a Euro tour at 7,000 subs. We already did it. Gustavo had 2 hours of multi-engine and a Seneca 1. Oh, man. I feel bad for you just because you were in a Seneca. In Brazil, that was the worst thing I've ever done in my life. Thank goodness I got the remaining in a Seneca 2. There you go. See? We used to have an all-black Duchess, and we called it the Blackbird. When in the summertime, oh my word, talk about being hot, and that airplane was constantly baking, and then of course just the performance being terrible. Never a good time. How do you get the zero fuel weight CG? Okay, TV flight. So right here, if you go to your mass and balance page, it is actively going to be updating as passengers are loading. So you see over 146 of 111. This is going to slowly change a little bit. Now you get a preliminary load sheet, which we have. It's over here, and I'll show you that. But the whole prelim coming through the ACARS, I kind of find that as like double redundant. I mean, I'm glad they did it. It's cool to see it. But at the end of the day, you get a prelim load sheet. At least we do. We get this information before we even start boarding, because the gate agents already have the number of booked passengers. And flight planning has already done the fuel numbers, and it knows the tail number. So we get all of this information with our initial paperwork. And we don't have to really wait for it to come by. But this is where you get your initial, and the final is the same thing. You just want to verify it. But right here, max zero fuel weight, 31.2. Max for takeoff, 30.2. And then the takeoff weight, 134.6. And if you go to page 1, takeoff fuel, 7.6. Zero fuel weight, which is the one you were looking for, 127.3. Now you can use this, or you can just use sync in the EFB, and that's what I do. But this information, like I said, we normally get this before we even start boarding. But it's kind of redundant. I mean, you already know, at least before the airplane starts boarding, you should already know all your prelim numbers. And in fact, we even have documents that tell us all of our estimated takeoff speeds and flap settings and temperatures, all that stuff. We already have a section in our paperwork that has that planned out for us before the aircraft even boards. So if in real life, I'd be sitting here right now and I would be looking at our paperwork and I would be looking at all the takeoff numbers, I'd be looking at second segment numbers, I'd be looking at what are my maxes, how heavy can we actually go before we need to change a flap setting or need to change the thrust output. I would have all that data available to me just in the initial paperwork. But the final paperwork is going to have the same information as that initial, except it's going to be 100% accurate to what's on the aircraft, right? Because you may have no-show passengers, you may have a little bit different the fuel or something like that. Bags might be a little bit different, the weight might be different. But that's where you find your weights and CG. We don't have any ATC on today, so we're going to set our top altitude here, 310. That is set. We're going to have terrain on because we got terrain on this one, blasting off northbound. We already talked about the departure procedure, which is, we'll do a little mini brief here while we wait. We're going to take off runway 02 from Guatemala City. At or above 7,000 feet, we will commence the right turn to Palin. I've got the Rabinol 116.1. I already have that hard-tuned on course 155. I've got that in the rad nav page, and you can see that here. Just in case we need a backup nav, I might flip that over on the departure just to make sure we are tracking the right outbound radial, but it should be good. We did a full alignment. The aircraft is aligned. From Palin, we're going to continue to Lagos, which is over here. Now, this is kind of interesting because I think we have Palin Lagos direct, which I think realistically you'd have to go Palin, intercept the 098 from Aurora out to Lagos. And if I look,
bank angle.
Let's go plan mode.
Bank angle.
Hey V1, what if you notice a large group of Eaters Anonymous coming aboard? Do you adjust passenger weight accordingly?
A large group of Eaters Anonymous coming aboard? I don't really know what you're referring to there, man. But thanks for your $3 dono, man. Appreciate you. All right. Let me just see here. Palin. Oh, it does have it. It does have it correct. Out to Lagos. So you can see, there it is, Palin. Then we're going to continue to the Rabinol 31 and then over to Lagos. So what I could do, in theory, what we'll do here, this is why we brief, right? I'm also going to hard tune the Aurora 098 outbound as well. So we're going to rad nav page. Aurora is already hard tuned, but I'm going to put 098 in the FO's side so we can just have a double check there. If we lose primary accuracy or whatever, we need to go to round gauges, we can still fly our departure with everything backed up already. How many? Oh yeah. How are the final numbers calculated? They're calculated the same way the prelim numbers are calculated, except with the most accurate passenger loading numbers. What does the small display above the? That's the DCDU. That's for ACARS. Now, I'm sorry, not for ACARS. Well, it is technically for ACARS, but that's for CPDLC. And I believe this only works when you have an active CPDLC controller, right? So let me see if I go back. Hold on. McDo, Atsu. I can do a position report here. Data link. No. Com menu. Here we go. Nope. ATC menu. Reports. There we go. Should a little bit different order. Manual position report. Okay, cool. See? And there we go. You're going to do a position report, send it off. But this is only working if you have a VATSIM controller with CPDLC active, and I believe that's only in Europe right now. But that's for a whole nother discussion, another video indeed. All right, here we go. I think boarding is complete. We can dismiss that. That's excellent. Let's come back over here to the to the not panel states, to the ground services. Let's go ahead and connect the tug. Let's start closing the doors up. That's closed. Pull the GPU. Oop. GPU has been pulled. turn the APU bleed on. So that was dangerous. You see, that actually was really cool. Did you hear how that just dropped out really hard? That is why you always want to make sure the external power push button is off before ground pulls that power. Because when they pull this power cord out here, if it's actively powering the aircraft, there is a slight risk of harming the ground personnel and the aircraft actually arcing an electrical signal. So it's very important that you turn that push button off before they disconnect power. But that's my bad. I should have done that. All right, 310, let's go ahead now and let's go to our perf takeoff. We're going to just, I'll show you here, this is where I get it. I'm going to go sync load sheet final. You don't even have to wait for it to come through your McDo. I'm just going to do it from here manually. Sync final load sheet, sync live weather. We're off 02, dry, force toga, packs off, calculate, and then it will also give me my numbers that I want to use. So here we go, 114, 135, 135, flaps 1. So perf page, 114, 135, 135, flaps 1, toga. We'll go to the init B page. All right, we need our 0 fuel weight and 0 fuel weight CG, so head over to your weight and balance right here. And note the figures above are live. So this is the most live figures you have. Right now our 0 fuel weight, 127.2 with 30.3 on the CG trim. So 127.2 and 30.3, we'll put that in here. 127.2 and 30.3, boom. That is set, because the final load sheet hasn't come yet. I think it comes 10 prior, which it should be here any minute. But we don't have to wait for it technically. You could push off the gate without your final. You just have to make sure you have it before takeoff. So we're going to set TARA to 2000 for VATSIM before we get out of here. Let's do a before start checklist to the line. Windows, doors, and slides. Stand by. 2 more. Closing arm. Beacon on. Thrust levers idle. Parking brake is on. Transponder is on. Before start checklist is complete. Cockpit to ground. Are you guys ready? Ground to cockpit. That's affirmative. Ready for brake release. Copy that. Brakes are released. You are clear to push straight back. Clear to push straight back. Here we go. And boom. We're on our way. Blue Bear. No ramp rats were harmed in this stream. Thank you. Exactly. Had to get that disclaimer out there. Oh, look at that. Avianca and the new colors pushing off too. Kevin says, I can't get over the Fenix EFB. Props to Katie Pilot. I can't either, Kevin. It's an awesome, awesome EFB. So if you use the prelim numbers and a couple guys don't show up, are you actually in better shape? SK Sun, that's a very good question. In fact, you are correct. You are there, depending on the airline you work for, you will have a company limitation of saying how accurate it must be. But in your question, theoretically, you are correct. If you have no shows, you actually have better performance than what's preliminary calculated. But at the end of the day, depending on your airline, they may require a accurate final numbers or accurate final numbers within so many. So for us personally, I believe it's 2. You got to have an accurate count within 2. And then as far as weight goes, at 4,000 pounds off, whether you're lighter or over, and over is obviously a big deal, but if you're 4,000 pounds lighter, you cannot even get your final numbers, because what happens is you have to have dispatch recalculate all of your perf data for you with your new 0 fuel weights and all of your new weights. So it will actually prevent you from getting final numbers if you're lighter than 4,000 pounds. And again, that can vary on company to company, just on your SOPs. But because we send ours, ACARs, through here, so we get our final numbers, we put them in, boom, 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 we send it off, and it'll come back and it'll say air max 0 fuel or max takeoff weight is less than planned by 4,000 pounds, which means we now have to physically call dispatch and have them rerun the numbers. But that's a great question. All right, pushback's complete, set brakes, brakes are set, clear to disconnect, we're starting engine 1. Copy that, starting engine 1, have a good day, Captain. Tug tow and a salute out front, engine mode to ignition start. We got bleed pressure, enjoy the startup sounds. I'm gonna be quiet, I'm gonna turn up the sim and try to hear this. Here we go, starting 1. So I feel like every time I start engines, it gets more lackluster every single time. Still waiting for that EGT to stabilize. I believe it was it Roscoe? Somebody was saying that they weren't getting the avail light. Remember, you got to wait for the avail light up to like 30 seconds. I've seen it be delayed. So there's our avail light for number 1. Now we can go ahead and start 2. Just because you hear the bus transfer, that clicking sound, that does not mean your engine is started. You have to wait for the actual avail light to illuminate. That bus transfer sound will occur before the avail light comes on. That is normal and true to the real aircraft. TV flight, I agree, man. I agree with you, man. Santiago Montoya, I just saw that you had a new join there. I'm sorry I didn't see that pop up when you did become a new member, but thank you so much for joining the channel. Exclamation point welcome for your perks here at the channel. There's a couple things you can do. You can sync your Discord to your YouTube account. You get access to the View After Dark section. You also get access to the View After Dark videos and content, and also the shorts videos that I provide when I'm out flying around. So I did not make a shorts video the other day or last night because I knew I was going to go flying on Monday or Sunday. But long story short, it didn't end up happening. I ended up driving to the airport. I paid for parking. I princess parked and all this stuff. And then the flight never ended up going for me. I ended up trading out of it. So kind of a long story. If we have time, we'll talk about it in cruise. But that's why I did not get to making a video the other night. I apologize for that. All right, AOC received messages. Here is our final. Boom, here we go. And here again, if you wanted your weights, 0 fuel weight, 127.2. Passengers, 146 plus 6. So we actually had 6 additional people on board. This is why you wait for your final, because we're 6 people heavier than planned. Fuel and tanks, 10.4, and we'll accept that. So that's our final. That is done. We'll put this in the flight plan page. Everything else looks good. We got 310 is set. We're going to go flaps to position 1. I feel like aiming a spool up the engine about 45% just to get moving. How much thrust do you typically from a dead stop? Matt Warren, that is entirely dependent on several factors. The type of concrete or asphalt that you're parked on, the temperature outside, the weight of the aircraft, and the type of the engine that you're on. But most commonly, what happens for me if I'm in a heavy airplane and I need to thrust up, I'll actually move the thrust levers to about 40%, and as soon as I hear them spooling up, I bring them back down, and then they stabilize at about 30% or so. Now, I don't have full range on my thrust levers here because it's just a Bravo, but they are very slow to spool up, so I typically move them up to about that 40% range. And then as I hear the engines coming up, I'm able to move the thrust levers back, and I sit right about 30% or so to get rolling. But all right, we got a good start on number 2. How are we getting out of here? We got to make a left turn. Okay, so let's go ahead and go. That goes there. Arm the speed brakes. Our flaps are set up to the overhead. We're going to leave the APU on so it takes care of the pack. So we're just going to turn the bleed off for now. But I'm going to pull down this so I remember to turn it on for departure, because we're doing a packs off takeoff. There's 2 ways to do packs off takeoff. We'll talk about that when we're holding short of runway 02. Until then, let's go ahead and get out of here. Let's go tiller cam online. Hopefully my iPad's not in the way. No, it is not. Beautiful. And taxi light is on. Park brake is released. Let's roll out of here. Look at that Avianca taxiing out. Hey, hit the like button for that Avianca in new colors there. That's cool. I love seeing that on VATS. I think we have someone over here as well. You need to tell me some news about that box after? Which box is that? What box is that, Christian? Wish we had that drive-by cam still. All right, we're going to follow him out to 02. I should be on Unicom, which I'm not. Hashtag fake pilots in chat. 122.8. Where are we? Guatemala traffic. Avianca 357 taxi into 02 behind company, Guatemala. I think he's going to 20 though. Oh, look, he even has IAE engines. Ah, what a proper 320. That looks so good. I cannot wait for us to get IAE engines. Now, the winds were 200 at 10, so he probably is correct in taking off in this direction. But we already set up for 02, and I don't want to go the other way, so we're just going to go to 02. But yeah, Jeremy, I agree. The Avianca tail looks really cool on the new livery. And traffic at Guatemala. Since you're taxiing to the correct runway, we'll let you guys go first.
Okay, no worries. I'll get out of your way quick.
Now you got time. Why do they push back straight back in America? It's not always. Just depends. It solely depends on the ramp and the airport that you're at. Oh, Christian, yeah. That's what I thought. I got to keep that on the low down, Christian. We got to keep that quiet until I can actually get the full review out for you guys. I really like this scenery too. This is good scenery here. Very nice. The takeoff from 20 is the more scenic one, is it? Ah, man, oh well. We'll go ahead. Look at this slope here, though. See how this is bowl-shaped? So true to real life. I just picked 02 because it's the same way we're going, and I took off 02 the last time I was down here. I didn't even think about doing 20, but oh well. Matt, I hope they do a 74-200. You really hope I do one for X-Plane 11? Would be awesome. I'm thinking about it, Matt. I've seen some pictures in the Discord of the Felis 74 flying around. I don't know. I don't know, man. I mean, look at this. Look at these clouds. Look at the lighting. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see, my friend. Phoenix app doesn't always launch for me. Anyone else? Dougal. Make sure you just look. I know it's supposed to auto start. Start it every single time manually before you launch the sim. You're not going to have another issue.
Aurora traffic, B143, pushing back, Aurora traffic.
That sounds like an actual guy down here in Aurora. I can't fake my accent that good. That's legit. But yeah, Dougal, I highly recommend just manually start it each time. I've got it saved to the desktop. Double click it, get it fired up, and then and that way you can always check to see if there's an update pushed or not too, because it'll actually have the update in the top right corner if there's one available. So just start it manually. I know it's supposed to auto start.
Traffic, Avianca 641 departing runway 20, Guatemala.
All right, he's departing 20. We'll have to see his takeoff here. Best mic in South America. What numbers have to be in the box before push and start, or do you plug in preliminary and update when you... That, again, that's a good question. That's going to depend all solely on your company, operating manual, whatever your company wants. Most common in the U.S. that I can speak for is you can push off the gate on wait short of the runway, waiting on final numbers. Most airlines, though, use a digital service now, all through ACARS, where they don't have to wait. But back in the day, it was not uncommon to be holding short of a runway, and the guy in front of you, he couldn't get cleared for takeoff because he's waiting on final numbers. Cough, America West. Cough, American Airlines. So, but nowadays it's pretty much quicker. But yeah, you can push off the gate without it. All right, let's watch this guy take off. We're holding short of 02, and let's actually see if we can zoom over there. Let's see, where's he going to rotate at? Here he comes. There he goes. Oh, look at the animations. And I lost him. I'm too zoomed in. Cool deal. Look at that. That is awesome. All right, here we go. Back to normal cockpit view. Get rid of that. Aurora traffic, Avianca 357 lining up for runway 02, Aurora. All right, here we go. APU bleed on for departure. We're going to line up, and then we're going to take off, so we're just going to go ahead and get everything on. Top row far, Christian. Yeah, or top row first. I did see your comment the other day, Christian. You're all right. We never did our flight controls real quick. Full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, auto brakes max, takeoff config is checked on auto, and TAR8 is set. We're ready. Packs are on, however, the APU bleed is on. So what happens when you run the APU bleed, the APU is going to take priority on the pack's schedule or the conditioning system. So you get best of both worlds. You get maximum performance because you're no longer requiring bleed demand from the engine, but you're also getting conditioning to the cabin still. So that is the optimum way to do a packs off takeoff is with the APU bleed on. Now sometimes, wow, I cannot. I don't think I've lined this airplane up once correctly. Sometimes you have to just do packs off if you don't have an APU or whatnot. But you're going to get the same performance, and it's much better for the passengers. So we've got our APU bleed on, so that can go up. We're ready. We're lined up, ready to go. 310 is set, 3012. Are you guys ready for this departure?
Out of the traffic, Viva Air 1483, taxi to runway 20 for departure. Out of the traffic.
Out of the traffic. All right, I love that guy. Best mic in South America, indeed. All right, we got 154 likes, 453 watching. I'm going to need to see 200 likes before we get out of here. 200 likes. You guys are held hostage. I'm going to spool them up 50 and burn gas till we hit 200. I hope you guys enjoy the sounds. I'm getting the music turned up, ready to go. Hit the like button for a Toga packs off takeoff. I don't know if we've done packs off yet, so we're going to really put these engines to the limit. There we go. Spool them up 50. $200 likes. Yoga. Let's do it from outside, shall we? Watch your ears. Why not? Mantoga, SRS runway, auto thrust blue. My ears are ringing. I'm sorry if that was really loud for y'all. That sounded awesome. Look how, see how slow the speed is? See how much slower it is. High density altitude. Thrust set. Check. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not it. 100 knots. Check. V1. Rotate. Nice and easy. Positive rate. Gear up. Navin. We are on our way. Oh man, that looks amazing. Super loud. Go ahead and fly the airplane. All right, lever climb. Let's go ahead and lower the nose. Get a positive trend in airspeed. There's our positive trend. Here we go. Bring them back. Nice and easy. You don't have to rip them back. Nice and easy. Thrust, climb, climb, auto thrust. All right. Through acceleration altitude, we can go ahead and secure the APU bleed. Go ahead and secure the APU. Let's enjoy some of these views. Oh my word, this is so awesome. I'm all on the juice train. GNR, I see your emojis. This is 100% MSFS Kool-Aid juice. Here's S-speed. Let's go ahead and let the flaps auto retract. So about 204 knots. We're gonna get the flaps, we're gonna auto retract. The slats will remain out. At least they should. There they go. That's an auto retract. So now we're probably close to VNE. Go, they're going in, and we'll go flap 0 after takeoff checklist. We're gonna just hand fly her out here. Nice clean wing. APU is coming offline now. Who wants X-plane with views like this? Hardy, what did you say? I can't hear. I'm sorry, man.
Out of the traffic, Viva Air 143, lining up on runway 20 for takeoff. Out of the traffic.
I hope that guy, are you in chat who's ever taken off right now? 10 for 10 on the immersion with joining the stream on that sim. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and put this down here as we go through these clouds. There's 10,000 feet. The airplane's going to go ahead and accelerate now to its climb out speed.
Yes, I am.
Ah, nice. All right, man. Thanks for joining. We could just add so much immersion. Like, no lie. All right, we are out of 10,000 feet. We're plus 19, so we don't need to worry about the engine anti-ice. We'll go ahead and start our turn over. Now, there's really nothing to look out the window here, so let's just go ahead and fly the airplane. I'm a little bit ahead of a flight director, but that's all right. We're out of 7,000 feet, so we're okay to start the turn. In fact, I think the real airplane would have started the turn earlier. I'd have to double check the chart there. We're in a nice bank angle check to the right. Look at that. Seeing the lighting between the clouds never gets old. All right, here comes our flight director roll command, which that's interesting that it was so delayed. I wonder, oh my, look at this. This is like flying through the tunnel. Smash down the like button for these views. This is why I love flying in Central and South America. Just you get a lot of these clouds, like low-level cumulus clouds. Just absolutely beautiful. Probably be getting bounced around here a little bit too. Isn't there a performance penalty with the APU flap open during takeoff? Jeremy Harvey? No, there is not actually. You actually have better performance with the APU operating because, let me rephrase that. You have better performance with the APU bleed running because you're now freeing up all of that demand from the engines. The engines are no longer required to provide air conditioning and cooling to the cabin through the packs because the APU will prioritize that. So you get better thrust performance, you get better thrust output with the APU on. Now, if the flap is open on takeoff, could there be a performance penalty? I actually would have to look that one up. I do not know. I am not aware of one. Remember, the flap is right under the tail cone there. I'm trying to think. I've done flights where you had to keep the APU on the whole time, and the fuel burn is for APU usage. I don't know if there is one for the actual flap door. If there is, it's got to be so small, but I'm sure there probably is. It's never been incorporated in any of the takeoff perf, because the benefit you get of the APU bleed on freeing up the engines is far greater than anything being degraded from the flap open. But that's a good question. I'd have to check. I bet there's probably an MEL or something I could look up that might actually have the information on that. Or a CDL. Look at that nice little wing flex. Oof. When do we need to activate engine and ice? Plus 10 to minus 10, all the way up to minus 40 C. So we're at plus 18. So we're plenty warm. We're out of visible moisture now, so we are pretty much good to go. There's 18,000. We'll go ahead and set standard STDs for you and me and one for the jump seater. And 1013 is set in the standby. Beautiful. Just little pressures out of here. APU door is hinged instead of a scoop, and there is a panel. Interesting, Jeremy. You know what? I will ask. I'll see if I can get an answer for you on
and I'm loving this cloud.
You and me both, man. You and me both. All right, let's go autopilot 1. Let's go back to the regular live cam. We are climbing out just beautifully. I'm going to keep the sun visor down so you can see the cockpit displays a little bit better. All right, seatbelts are off. Let's just go ahead and double check. We'll clean up the airplane here. We don't need terrain on ND anymore. We're above terrain. That can come up. We've disarmed the speed brakes. We're out of 10. I never did let the flight attendants know that we're out of 10, so we'll give them a little ding up there so they can go ahead and do what they need to do. We'll leave constraint mode on because we still have a constraint here. We've got a very close, it's a very short flight, so we don't have a ton of time. Let's enjoy a wing of view here or two. Let me turn down the sim. We'll enjoy a wing view or two, and then once we get to top of climb, we'll have a quick discussion on the approach, and then by that time, we're going to set up and start to come down. How do you know when anti-ice is required? So, a couple things you need for engine anti-ice. Number one, most important thing, you need to be in visible moisture. So, snow, rain, clouds, heavy fog, anything that is visible and it's moisture, which basically anything visible in the sky is going to be moisture unless it's an object. So visible moisture, and you need to be in the icing range. So the easiest way I can explain it, plus 10, minus 10, okay, is what you're looking for over here in your TAT. Now, when we start talking about jet aircraft and flying up in the upper flight levels, the window is actually greater. So it's actually from plus 10C all the way to minus 40 on the SAT, okay? When it gets below minus 40, it's too cold to accumulate pretty much no matter what, so then you can go ahead and turn the engine anti-ice off. Now, when you're descending, when the power is at idle and you're coming through the clouds, you know the temperature is going to be increasing. So if you see, if it's greater than or warmer than minus 50, you know it's going to even get warmer as you descend with low power settings and low thrust. They actually recommend the engine anti-ice to come on in the descent at that point. So there's two kind of ways to look at it. You can look at it the simplistic way, because I think Microsoft is pretty simplistic in how it calculates engine anti-ice. Then any single engine piston driver, all they're really looking for is plus 10, minus 10 is the active range for icing. But theoretically, all the way up to minus 40C is when you should have the engine anti-ice on, and minus 50 on the descent, because you're going to be at idle thrust settings, and you could definitely, it's going to get warmer as you get closer to the ground. Oh, what lake is that down there? Man, there's some beautiful terrain out here. Love the red tips on the flap tracks. You and me both, Matt. Is there any situation where you would take off with the APU bleed on, and is it a common thing? James, it is common, especially in high terrain, high density altitude operations. And the reason, again, is for performance. The engines are providing, and we'll look at it here, I'll show you, the engines are providing all of this high pressure air to the packs. When I look at the condition page, that's not the one I was looking for. Yeah, you can see it here too. You see pack 1, pack 2. On the bleed page, you can see we've got air pressure running through the pack system, through the bleed system, then they go to the packs, and then it comes to the conditions, then it goes to the trim air valves and the mixing unit, all that stuff, and provides air conditioning. All this air that you see here on your condition page has to come from somewhere. And it comes from the hot section or the compressor section of the engines. So when you are requiring pneumatic operation from your packs, the engines have to give up some performance to give you that air. So if you have to take off high density altitude, the best way to get more performance is to alleviate the engines of that external bleed usage. So you can either turn the packs off, which is common, you could do that, or the preferred method is to just run the APU, because if you run the APU bleed, the Airbus is smart enough to know that, oh, well, if the engines are on, but the APU bleed is on, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to give you APU air for the packs. That way we can free up the engines and give you more performance. And that way the cabin remains cool, the pressurization is a little bit smoother. If you do a packs off takeoff, sometimes you feel it in your airs when you start turning the packs back on, just because of the change of the pressure in the valve and all that. So it's much better on the passengers when you do a APU bleed on instead of a packs off takeoff. But the performance you gain is the same. It's just on how your company wants you to do it. Where are the packs actually located on the Airbus? I'm going to show you. So the outside view, these are your pack inlets right here. Pack 1 and pack 2, and there's the outlet, so I can't really see it. Believe this is pack 1 and pack 2, right? Pack inlets. And then the outlet valves are right here. So this is where that hot air is coming out. So in the wintertime, when you're doing your walk around, you walk by here, hopefully the bleed is on, and then you get nice and warm from your outlet here. So that's your pack outlet. Very hot air comes out of there. Your inlets are on the NACA ducts. I used to know what that stood for. But these are NACA ducts. Technically, their term. These are your pack inlets. So, Jeremy, their packs are probably right about here on the actual fuselage of the aircraft. Right here. So, I had an interesting... so, the flight I was supposed to do the other day, I'm going to turn this down a little bit more. I had an interesting MEL, which I'd never seen before. It was a no biggie, but basically it said that the RAT, or the ram air turbine, when it was out, it would not display on the hydraulic page. My first question was, well, how did they find out that it wasn't being displayed on the hydraulic page? Did they have did they actually need the RAT and it didn't display? but I guess it was out of a maintenance check or something. They pop the rat, they check all the functions. But basically what the MEL said was that if the rat is, since the rat indication is not displayed on the ECAM, you have to verify that it is stowed on each flight. So obviously on the walk around, you come around and make sure that your ram air turbine was stowed, and it is right here. Now obviously if this pops out in real life, it's not just a visual thing. You would hear it and even feel it a little bit in the floor of the airframe when that rat pops out. Very loud. Basically it's a King Air propeller sitting out there. Yeah, it's smaller than that, probably like a 172 prop. It just comes out into the slipstream. Very loud, provides hydraulic pressure and emergency electrics. All right, we're about to level 310. Funny side note, APU usage is also dictated on the APU leasing contract. Some airlines pay less not to use APU for takeoff bleed. Very interesting, Gustavo. So there you go, Jeremy. You know, I'm talking about these APU procedures or packs off or versus bleeds off or whatnot. It is very dependent upon the airline and probably the country that you fly for too, because they have different regulations. I know in some of our company charts when we fly into these airports in South America, a lot of them actually have noise restrictions where the APU cannot be run for more than 5 minutes or something, or more than 10 minutes at the gate, unless operationally necessary or what have you. So there may be times when other outside factors, like Gustavo was mentioning here, for pay less to not use APU, that you would just be doing a traditional packs off takeoff. I know all about those outlets during winter and being a wing walker. Those things are a lifesaver when pushback gets delayed. Siegfried, thanks, man, for being a wing walker and ramp guy, because without you guys, we can't go anywhere. Appreciate you out there. But yes, indeed, it does help. It does help. All right, we'll go back to the outside view in a second here. I want to get the information set up for Toncontin because it comes up quick. We're only a couple hundred miles out. Let's just get the weather. We'll do a quick setup of the box, and then we can sit back. We'll talk about more density altitude, and we'll do maybe some drone cam footage of the outside. So let's do this here, weather, because it's actually a very long approach that we're doing. It's a full circle around, but so we're not as close as we may seem. But I always want to be ahead of the aircraft, right? So leveling off and cruise, fly the airplane first. Let's go ahead, let the passengers up, turn the seatbelt sign off. Everything looks good. What is the condition in the back there? 24. It's a little bit hot. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and cool it down. Let's go ahead and cool it down. I wish that would work in my office if I just do that. Now we should see the temperature range come down a little bit. There we go. They're starting to drop. Look at that. Beautiful. All right, let's go to the received messages. I'm doing two things at once. We'll go over here to approach phase. Enter destination data. Here's our weather data. Here we go. MHTG 240 at 10. So we're going to have a nice little wind there on landing. 240 at 10. Temperature 27. Towering cumulonimbus. Scatter 3400. 1017 on the meter, which is 3003. All right, that is set. Let me come over to our Navigraph charts. NACA, National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, now called NASA. Thank you, Russell. Believe it or not, I used to know that, and I would actually ask students on their pre-stage or their stage check ride for my bonus question. I'd always ask them, so what's a NACA duct? Or I'd say, what is this duck? What is the name of this duct? And totally unnecessary to really know that information, but the ones that knew the answer were typically very, very sharp. All right, approach RNP south is what we're doing because we're going over the TNT VOR, and on the arrival we are on the VTAN 1. So if you look at the VTAN or VTAN 1, basically we're going VTAN, which is at 10,000 straight to Toncontin VOR at or above 8,000. So I'm not even going to use this page out here because we don't really need it. It's very simple. But the RMP 02AR South is what we do want to have up, and we're going to just keep this page up for pretty much the duration of the approach. The minimum DA is 4429. Let's throw that in the box right now. That is set. Progress page, MHTG is set, and in the RadNav page, we're going to clear this out, and secondary, we're also going to copy the active flight plan. Beautiful. All right, so descent, I don't want to come down at Mach 1, so let's do 79 and 310 knots in the descent. And on the flight plan page, we know at TNT we want to cross at or above 8,000. I'm going to make this a hard altitude of 8,000 here. We're going to insert that, 250 knots. That'll keep us on profile a little bit better. All right, so we are set up. We're not going to use our LS push buttons for now, but everything else looks good, right? So we'll do a quick little status check. No failures. Hydraulics look normal. Fuel is good. Pretty much balanced. 7,000 on board. Awesome. Everything is looking good. All right. We are set. And here we go. Kind of like a fire hose stream. There's a lot happening. What did you do with bearing and distance? Oh, Journey, I just deleted the RadNav page. So out of 10,000 feet, typically the commit, and this again, it will depend, but that's when you will clear and copy your flight plan. So you're going to clear out anything that you put in that RadNav page because you no longer need it. You're above 10,000. If you have to go back, you got time to reprogram it. But you clear out that RadNav page. That way it puts if you had anything hard tuned like we did, now we put the aircraft back into auto tuning mode. So we'll be able to pick up different VORs and stuff along our route of flights. And then we also want to copy our active flight plan instead of having that secondary return, because that secondary return is going to do nothing for us now at 10,000 feet. Again, like I said, you have time. If you need to make a return, you can reprogram the box. But out of 10, if you copy your active, now you basically have a backup flight plan in case you either mess up your primary flight plan or you get something crazy and you need to change it. You at least have everything set there in a backup, because 2 is always better than 1. So that's why you copy that active flight plan, just to have it in the standby in case you need to change it. Do you know why there is such a large gap between V1 and VR during high density altitude takeoff? Andre, that's because your decision speed is, that's because your decision speed needs to come before a little bit faster or a little bit sooner because of the density altitude hurting the aircraft's performance to decelerate. So remember, and this is a complex topic to talk about when we get into balanced field length and all this stuff, but I'm trying to dumb it down I shouldn't say dumb it down. That's kind of could be offensive, but to make it more applicable to simming, what you're worried about at V1 is being able to stop the airplane before going off the end of the runway, right? That's what we're mostly concerned about. So if the performance is degraded, which it is degraded at a much higher level when we fly into high density to altitude airports or take off out of them like we just did in Aurora, the aircraft is going to take much longer to slow down. So naturally that V1, that decision speed, is going to have to come sooner because you do not have the performance to slow down. Just like it's hard to accelerate at high density altitude, it's hard to decelerate at high density altitude. You don't have as much drag on the aircraft, the air is less dense, and the airplane is going to have a much harder time to slow down. Coincidentally, your brake temps are going to be much, much hotter. I once did a flaps 3 idle reverse medium auto brake landing in Denver in a 321. Did it one time. I was a first officer, I was a new hire at that point. We need to go ahead and start down. I'm going to set 8,000 set for TNT. The brake temps were well over 400 C when we were at the gate, and it was just not good. But the check airman that I was flying with, and this was when I was on OE, so once you get type rated, you have to do 10 hours supervised flying, or whatever, I forget whatever the hour requirement is. And he knew that it would cause this high brake temp situation, but what is a better way to learn than to actually experience it firsthand? And so he was kind of perplexed by my decision to use flaps 3 with medium brakes and idle reverse. And you put all those things together, that airplane, the brakes were extremely hot because coming in at 7,000 feet, field elevation, I think it was probably closer. Density altitude probably had Denver around 8,000 feet at that time. It was summertime. So try to stop a 321 at 8,000 feet when your true airspeed is through the roof, your ground speed is through the roof, with flaps 3 only adding to the problem because you have a faster VAP speed now because you're at flaps 3. You just combine all those factors together, it's very difficult to slow down, and it's a lot of energy on the brakes. Takeoff distance available is accelerate stop distance available. So, or takeoff distance remaining equals accelerate stop distance remaining. Correct. The McAllen says, I'm currently trying to figure out within the team why the engines are so low for some of us, me included. One lead is Windows or Realtek equalizer doing stuff. Interesting, McAllen. So Realtek equalizer. Let me see something. So I don't have that, but I have a Razer Synapse program. I wonder if that could be causing something. Because I use the Razer headphones. Now, I don't remember my password, and I'm apparently logged out, so I might have to tackle that. I might tackle that on the turn. But that's an interesting point, McAllen. Thank you. I'm going to check that up here. I'm going to check on when we do a second leg. I'm going to see if I can log into my Razer profile for my headset and see if that has anything to do with it. But thanks for stopping by, man. But yeah, I do suffer from that super quiet engine startup sound. But I feel like other people's aren't that way, so it might be something system-wise. You're absolutely correct. Thank you. Flying Colorado, always a good time. Exactly. Density altitude Toncontin right now is 5608. Okay, so real quick, I know we're kind of on the topic of balanced field lake and density altitude. Just to reiterate, let's do a quick briefing here of what density altitude is and how is it going to affect the aircraft on this approach here as we make this circle to come in and land. So obviously aircraft performance is going to be degraded the higher you are, and density altitude is the altitude at which the airplane is going to perform even if it's at a lower physical altitude. So if we are landing at a field elevation of 3,300 feet, you combine the temperature and the atmospherics, you get what's called density altitude. Currently, DJ Douglas said density altitude right now is 5,608 feet. So that's an additional 2,000 feet upon airport elevation, and it's not even that hot yet. So that means as we come across the numbers, our true airspeed is going to be higher, our ground speed is going to be higher, so the airplane is going to take longer to decelerate. It's going to require more energy on the brakes. So immediately we're thinking, okay, there's no reason to do flaps 3. We're going to be flaps full, probably medium auto brakes, or maybe even some additional manual braking there to help slow the airplane down. Where it also is important to discuss density altitude, and this is going to be more apparent when we fly the MROC Circus Visual circling, is when you start doing maneuvers fully configured low level, the aircraft is going to react much differently than you may have been accustomed to, especially if you do a lot of flying in the States or in low altitude situations or cool climates. The airplane is going to be much more susceptible to getting away from you, in so many words. And again, this approach not too bad because we have a nice gradual circle, but when you really start yanking and baking, like on the Circus Visual, sometimes, and it's actually recommended that we use selected speed, because if we use managed speed, the airplane is going to try to get us to our VAP speed, but we may want to be coming in a little bit faster to give ourselves a little bit of protection from that VLS coming up and triggering our alpha floor protection. Now on this approach, I don't think it's going to be an issue. We'll discuss it on the Circus Visual when we're low level, but it's something to keep in mind that the airplane is going to be slower to react. It's going to feel a little bit more sluggish, so we have to anticipate our maneuvers a little bit sooner than we would in a traditional cool or low density altitude situation. So knowing what we know, we're going to let the airplane do its RNAV approach down. We're going to fly over TNT, VOR, and then it's going to make a circle. We're going to come back around. We know we're going to be very low level. When we make that final turn, we're going to be coming out pretty much, hopefully around 100 feet, lined up with the runway. And we know we do not want to float here because, again, it's going to take a lot longer to slow the airplane down. So let's look at let's actually run some landing numbers. And I'll show you, we'll look here, that might help us with this example. So Toncontin is, we're going to do dry, apply the current METAR, 240 at 10, 27, 3003. We're going to land on 02 for cinematic purposes no matter what. Our current landing weight, let's give it the worst possible scenario, right? I know we're 133.8. I know that's going to go down, but let's just say we're going to run the numbers from here. 6.3, we're only going to burn about 400 pounds anyway. So I'm just going to run the current weight because I know that's the most conservative. So 133.8, enter that. We're going to do max, let's see if we do max manual. We're going to do max reverse, auto thrust on, flaps full with a manual landing. We don't have a lot of play here. So you could see with a 8 knots on the tail, we got up to 10 knots, so we're good. But this is setting up for one of those landings that if you don't pay attention, you get lazy, you could put the aircraft in a bad spot. We got 4,400 feet plus our additive. We need about 5,000. Let's just say 5,100 feet is what we need to land and stop this aircraft. The landing distance available is 5,400 feet. So we're definitely going to need no floaties on this one. Take something out of Captain Canada's playbook. No floaties on this one, because you float this sucker down, we're going to be going off the end. So max manual braking. I'm going to be using manual brakes in combination with medium auto brake. And actually, you know what? Let's just do it per the book. We're going to just do manual brakes. I'm not going to even arm the auto brakes. Flaps config full reverse, and that should be dandy. So one other thing we need to do, now that we ran our landing data, let's go back to the charts. I want to show you something here that's implemented. We want to make sure we do it. So R&P for landing is 0.3. We must have a 0.3 accuracy. What we can do to help hard tune it, right now, since we're in the en route phase, we only need 1.0 nautical miles. But we know we're going to need 0.3, so let's go ahead and hard tune it. This is something that you don't see much, or at least where I fly, you don't really have to do this very much anymore. But we're going to put a 0.3 requirement in there. Our nav accuracy is higher, GPS is primary. We're estimating 0.03, so we're even going to have more accuracy than required. But we want to make sure we've checked and entered the required R&P performance in the box for this approach. Since it's an RNAV, we do not need to arm the LS push buttons. And we are not going to arm the second autopilot. We're just going to press approach. We're going to wait for final lap, and everything's going to be fine and dandy. You can see it wanting to slow down here for 250 knots. That's perfect. I'm going to go ahead and select speed, and I'm going to select 250. Now I'm going to turn the sounds up. Let's go ahead and manually select 250 knots. 250 is selected. Give it a little bit of speed brake here to help slow it down. But we're looking plenty good. We're going to go ahead and get terrain mode on because this is a mountainous approach, mountainous terrain. And as we go through 10,000 feet, let's go ahead and light it up, get the additional speed brakes out there. No ATC, so we'll just turn on all of our lights, and we're getting ready to go through 10,000. We should also turn on the seatbelt sign. No longer need the speed brake. We're at 250, descending 8,000. Since we are in selected speed, we're going to activate and confirm the approach phase right now. We are activated and confirmed. You'd probably be getting a clearance. You're cleared for the R&P 02 from TNT. Avianca 357 cleared RNAV R&P 02 from TNT. We've already got final lap. This is good. I love seeing this. We weren't able to get this in X-Plane 11. For some reason, you had to be on a final approach segment, which is an old, outdated function of Airbus thinking. Now you don't even need to be on the final approach segment to get final lap. But we have final lap is captive. I was trying to say captivated and active, but final lap is active. We've already captured the brick. We've got our LDEV up here for this aircraft's equipment, and we can see that we are on profile looking just fine. 250 knots here or less. We're fine at 250 for now. Let's enjoy the approach as we get ready to do our R&P circle right over the VOR. I feel like I'm talking fast, but it's a short flight. I'm trying to get a lot of info out there. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Billy B16, thank you for the £2 donation, man. He says, another great video. Billy, I'm glad you're enjoying this. I'm sorry, I'm probably missing a lot of questions in chat, but I didn't realize how short this flight would actually be. So trying to get my thoughts off that I want to get off about density, altitude, and all that stuff, and then you guys asking great questions and flying this approach. I feel like I'm nonstop chattering, but I appreciate y'all hanging around and enjoying the content, so thank you. Review of the CVR noted that the PIC elected to land with a tailwind for cinematic purposes. Douglas, you just won comment of the stream award. That's awesome. Cloud-based doesn't really look like a circling approach is fine if you ask me. Hardy. This is where we separate real world from cinematic purposes, my friends. In fact, we're going to descend probably below the MDA on this approach just for cinematic purposes with the RNAV engaged. Let me get flight recorder up, get it ready for the replay. recorder is ready. We'll arm that here shortly, but here we go. We're getting ready to fly over TNT VOR. The V1 fixing to put the bus down on the runway like a hornet on a carrier. We're going to try. We are going to try. So RNAV approaches essentially follow your program plan right down to the final approach compared to ILS. Matt, yeah, so the main difference between an RNAV and an ILS is you are using area-based navigation. You're not using any land-based nav aids for the aircraft to track. You're using GPS and onboard position monitoring computers to fly an approach. That is why, theoretically, they have the opportunity to be less accurate than a land-based approach, such as an ILS. But in current day, with our current technology and RNP, you can fly very, very accurate approaches. In fact, with the most up-to-date software, like such as FLS, which is an FMS approach or an FMS landing system, you are actually able to start flying approaches with equal to even greater accuracy than land-based nav aids. But again, that depends on the equipment on board the aircraft, and of course it depends on the crew training and qualifications. So me personally, from a real-world perspective coming at you, we are getting FLS. I've done a couple sims with FLS approaches. I still don't have I feel like it's almost an information overload when you start doing FLS approaches. I don't know if I really enjoy them. I'll have to say, maybe I'll do a stream in that coming up here pretty soon. But it's time to pay attention here. We're getting ready to come around the final. Let's go ahead and start recording. Recording is on. This is a 250 knot max speed. I'm going to wait till we're about 2 miles out, and then we're going to go ahead and start slowing down. Auto land for cinematic purposes. Now, you cannot auto land off of an RNAV. It will not auto land. It will actually chirp into vertical speed mode, and it will drive it straight into the ground. So we got to be very careful. Man, look at these views, though. I'm going to start coming back here about 200. I'm going to start working that speed back a little bit. And again, I'm doing it early because we've already talked about density altitude. The airplane's going to take longer to react. I don't want to wait all the way till the end because the airplane does not take into account density altitude as far as its speed schedule and slowing down. So even though your decel point may be further up on your flight plan, if you wait for it, it might be too late and you might be unstable. So that's why I'm taking manual speed here with the selected speed option. There's our VFE next minus 10. Let's go ahead and drop flaps 1. Let's get the tiller cam online. Hope I didn't just crash my sim. No, I didn't. Okay, normally that's bad if I do tiller cam with the recorder already on. Let's go ahead and bring up the sounds a little bit. I'm going to come all the way back to 180, and we'll sit at 180 on flaps 2 for a little bit. Nothing to see outside right now. We're in and out of the clouds, so we're just flying the airplane. We're still on profile. She's looking good. We've got a max 165 at TG013, so I'm actually going to start going into managed speed here very soon. In fact, I think we're there now. I'm going to just go ahead and manage the speed. There's VFE next minus 10, flaps 2. So this is one of those approaches where the whole 2,000 feet above, flaps 2, 180 is going out the window. There's VFE next minus 10, flaps 3. Staying on profile, we're looking good. Tad high. Max 165 knots, but we're looking good, well within that. Let's go ahead and lower the landing gear. Speed brake is armed. And we're slowing to our final. Let's go VFE next, flaps full. Ooh, getting some wind now. You know, I did a practice approach earlier and I could barely see the runway, but I'm glad to see that that low mist is burned off. All right, we are speed, final lap. Landing checklist, cabin crew advised, auto thrust, speed. ECAM memo, landing, all green. Landing checklist is complete. We are cleared to land. Toncontin traffic, Avianca 357 on final for RNAV 02, Toncontin. Should have been making some radio calls earlier, but here we go. I'm actually going to let the airplane RNAV this because I kind of want to see what it does here. Or maybe I should hand fly it. I don't know. We'll see. I kind of want to hand fly it to feel these winds. I'll disengage it at minimum, so I'll hand fly it at minimum. So we're 44.29. We're already, if we have to go around, we're going to set 10,000. 10,000 is set. But the wind is starting to swirl around here in this toilet bowl. Let it RNAV. I'm going to let it RNAV here for a minute. I want to see how it makes this turn, but we do need to disconnect at minimums, which is about another 100 feet.
100 above. Minimum.
All right, so we should disconnect. I'm going to continue. I want to see how she how it actually does this, though. This is a Fenix test here. It's on profile. We might get a terrain here. We'll watch that. This looks so low. My goodness. This is epic. Wow. Look at it coming around. There's the runway.
100.
All right. Inside landing. Autopilot off. Flight director off. Give me the bird.
100.
Check.
Pull up.
Whoa, that's weird.
40.
Shouldn't have got that.
30.
Oh, baby. Don't balloon on me.
10. 5.
Max manual. Almost seems like the GPS database is a little bit off. 70 knots. Whew. Man. Yeah, Flight Director 2 was on Gustavo, and that is why you turn off both flight directors. You see how we got FPA 08 in there? Why are we stopped on the runway? That is why you have a first officer. I think if I would have reached over and turned off Flight Director 2, we would have been real unstable. I was betrayed by Flight Director 2. I know it. But it's good to see that actually is implemented there. So that's why you always turn off both flight directors. But Flight Director 2 was still on. It gave me an FPA. No bueno. But we got her down. We're stable. We had a sync rate. We had a bank angle check for sure. Not sure what the landing rate was. But let's go ahead and clean it up. Actually, you know what? We'll leave it configured for the replay. Let's just leave it. I'm going to disarm the speed brakes for the replay. I will stop recording. Clenching did occur. Awesome. I want to see that replay. Yeah, I had like one stutter. I had one micro stutter as we rolled out, and then that Flight Director 2, I need to bind those somehow. Yeah, wing clearance is tight. You want to be on centerline. I'm actually cheating left of centerline. I'm not even meaning to. Just habit. Couple ramps I knew that on in real life too. Pittsburgh's one of them. Christian, take it easy, man. In Team Vodka words, you gotta go. You're drinking. Excellent, man. Have a good night. Thanks for stopping by, Christian. The brake temps are incorrectly simulated. You see they're 245 right now. They would be a little bit hotter than that. They would be a little bit more toasty than 245. Ever flown into LaGuardia? Yeah, many times. Many times. All right, we'll park it next to this guy over here. We're going to leave the lights on. We're leaving the lights on for replay, so don't worry about that. That's why the flaps are also down. All right, I got a couple of wing walkers here. He's walking right in front of the airplane. Let's go ahead and crank it over. He's actually marshalling me in. That's kind of cool. A little bit of a downhill here. That's sketchy. Oh, he lost a wand. Where'd your other wand go? Boop. I think they're crossed. I don't know. Let's see how he did. Stopped me a tad early. Maybe he's not fully crossed yet. All right, welcome to Honduras. Let's go replay mode here. Now, is there anybody on final? Don't believe so. All right, so nobody's on final, so let's go ahead and go right into the replay. We'll disconnect. Let's take a look at this. This one's going to be fun to watch.
Terrain ahead. Pull.
All right, let's zoom it forward. Let's pause. All right, let's try it from here. Let's watch it from this wing view here, shall we? This is the default Toncontin. I did not see one. I did use there's like a tree mod on the Flight Sim TO to remove some tall trees. That's the only thing I have. Jack, because it's a 357 Magnum, my friend. And if I keep switching call signs while trying to talk and listen to VATSIM, I'll never hear the right numbers. Sometimes they pull you into the gates because it's so tight over there. Interesting, Joel. Apparently there's some grinding going on in the background. Apologize for that. Camille, yes, exclamation point stick will give you all the information you need to see about that, Camille. Man, look at this. We're going to have to do drone cam view from the hill. We're going to have to do drone cam view from the hill here. Wow. That is wild. I mean, that is crazy low. I'm using flight recorder. We're going to have to do a 100%. We're going to have to do a drone cam view of this. Rooftop view for the win. Rolled it out.
Pull up.
40.
That's that tailwind when you roll out. What was the landing rate? Did anybody see what the landing rate was? Nice. Full brakes. Not bad on the center line. Gustavo says, wouldn't it be better to do... Oh, yeah. Gustavo. I wish you would have told me. That's a great idea. Yeah, I should have done it 100%. I should have done it with Flight Director 2 off. That way I could have just turned mine off. Great point, man. Good deal. I would do that on the next one. All right, let's see how it actually looked on landing. I mean, this is crazy low. Have I landed through Palmarola in El Salvador? No, I have not. I have not. I mean, I've seen videos of this on YouTube. I can't imagine living here. Like this guy's house right there. Oh my word. So right here, that tailwind, I really felt that sink rate. And that's why probably why we got that sink rate in the cockpit too. You roll out, just pushes you down. Get control of it, get her on center line. A little bit of aileron. There we go. That power idle, a little late on the power, no float. Just put her down, straighten it out. So I think I figured out what's the problem on landing with this airplane as far as landing with the rudder authority. There is zero rudder authority with the mains down and the nose gear up. So it's almost like Microsoft just thinks that when the mains are on the ground, that it's nose wheel steering only. Because I have zero rudder control. I cannot move the nose with the mains on the ground and the nose wheel in the air, which is the farthest thing from real life. That rudder is still extremely effective at your VAP speed when you're coming in the flare. So I'm pretty sure that's what's happening, because I had the input down on my foot, but there's just no swing of the nose. So I would wonder if someone would look into that. I wonder if that's a Microsoft thing. But yes, because as soon as the nose comes down, what happens? The airplane slews off because it sees that you have the rudder input on. But that's not how it is in real life. You have very much control over the nose with the mains on the ground. Not bad at all, though. Hey, I'll take it. For my first attempt in here with the Fenix, I will take that. Microsoft has the worst ground rule model than X-Plane? Yeah, I agree, Gustavo, 100%. All right, what we're going to do is I'm going to rewind it here, and then we'll watch it from a drone cam. We'll go pause. Let's back it up. Let's watch one from like the flyover, right? So I'm going to go to external cam. We got to find that guy's house. So I'm going to go showcase. Whoa. Camera drone. I don't know why it's rolled. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And let's go over here. I'm going to increase the drone speed. Hold on. And then we'll watch it. We'll watch it from there. So here's the approach path. Where's the hill, everybody's? Probably right here, right? Actually, no, I think it's over here, because you can see the runway. Let's watch it from this guy's house. Alright, so we're going to watch it from right here. And I've got zoom. Alright, here we go. Let's watch the replay. Oh, pause, pause, pause. I got to unlock it. There we go. Resume. There we go. Worst camera system ever. Alright, now I hear the airplane like it's right next to me, but I do not see it. Oh, there it is. I'm going to turn down the volume. It's blasting in my ears. There we are. Look at this cinematography. I am using MFG crosswinds for rudder, Blue Drake. If that's what your name stands for. Here it comes. Look at that. Oh, that is awesome. I mean, who needs Top Gun? Look at my cinematography here. This is basically Jerry Bruckheimer Productions. Come back. Oh. That's cool. Definitely came in left, the center line there. And then we lose it gets far away. That almost, That looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Pause. That looked pretty dang good. Let's do one more. One more. Here it comes. Hit the like button for V1 Productions. Going to Hollywood here. Oh! I mean, that's awesome. Is that not awesome? I mean, that kind of looks like FS 2002, but... yeah, Ryan, it is. It's very low. Touchdown effects. Alright, that was cool. Let's do, I'm going to give you guys one more replay. We'll go back to like normal. Let's reset everything here. Definitely bringing up the Kool-Aid emojis. Thank you, GNR. I'm going to rewind you guys back. You can watch the approach in here, in and out of the clouds. It's going to be absolutely juicy. I'm going to set up for our second leg. I'm sweating, but I think I can still do it. We're going to set up for the flight over to Costa Rica. So I'll let you guys enjoy this replay here, and I'll be back with you in just a couple minutes. So thank you for sticking around. Hope you guys enjoy the replay. I'll talk to you in a bit.
100.
Alrighty, we are just about ready. Let me double tap here. The Macallan. I was following your sound thing there. In my device, I do not have an enhancement option. I followed your path all the way there. I could not find enhancement. I did find where, like, you know, it has the mono or anything like that, and none of that is checked, or like the make it sound like headphones, that is all off. But I do not have an enhancement option on mine. I'll take another look at it here in just a second. Let me get Fly Live re-updated here. MHTG to MROC. And apologize for the grinding outside. We're continuation of flight Avianca 357. So let me go ahead and reset that. Hopefully... Oh, I just wiped it, didn't I? You know what? Fly Live, we're done with you. You're dead to me. Let's go ahead and get this airplane fired up. We only have 27 minutes to get off block. Looks like we are just where we left off, a 737 over there. We're doing a quick turn here on the airplane. Let's continue with our flows. Let me pull the data request here, though. We'll get that sent away. While we're here, I'm going to just do a weather request. Return. Oh, ACARS is the same page. Very nice, just like it is in real life. We'll go back to init request. Hopefully that grinding will stop here any second. Weather, MHTG, weather request, boom, boom, sent. And we've got 2 minutes to line. We've already got a company message. And let's go ahead and start boarding, because we're just doing a quick turn. Like I said, 147, commence boarding, 25 minutes, ouch. They are on the way. Everything is off. We're in a transient stop, so ground control is back on, pumps are off. Everything is already done on the overhead. We don't have to double check. We don't have to go through all those switches again. What is the little switch on the window pillar for? Window pillar. Switch on the window pillar. What do you mean? Let me see here. It's 21 outside. This? Oh, this. A light. There's a light right here for your charts. And then this is the intensity of the light. Right here, here's the light bulb. And it would, when you had old school charts. The grinding is the spring summer natural sound. Construction, work, lawnmower, weed whacker. Exactly. It's just part of the deal there. What did we have here for company messages? Hopefully it's just a prelim and nothing else. Or it's probably, oh yeah, it is our prelim load sheet. We'll accept that. Weather data. That's current. We are continuation of flight Avianca 357. Oops, I didn't clear my scratch pad. Didn't follow my own advice. See how it was clear this out, clear that out, boom, boom. Cost index, we are going to be ripping over there to MROC. Cruise flight level, what did we file? We filed 35. So just a little bit longer en route there. 35 is set. IRS and NIT, align on ref, confirm, return. That is done. Flight plan departure off of runway 02 for cinematic purposes on the Libis 1. And, yep, insert that. Boom. Nothing there. That looks good. MROC, arrival. What is it? The VOR 7, circle 25? Let me double check. Approach. Yep. ILS 7 for the circle 25. That's what we're going to set up for. ILS Zulu 7, and we're taking that off of the Bahara 4 Lima. So, or I'm sorry, the Barra 4 Lima. I guess off the lib transition. L. Insert. Let's take a look at that. Plan mode, constraints, and scroll through U. That looks good. We're not going to fly that. That's for sure. We're going to give ourselves a direct 2. Perfect. Everything looks good on the flight plan page. That goes back to ARC 10. Get my VORs on. Boom, boom. Back down to the box here. Secondary flight plan, init. MHTG, MHTG. How quick can we turn the airplane here? No worries, Nathan. There's no dumb questions for the most part. If we come back around, I guess we're going to just set right back up for the RNAV 02. We know that. We're not going to use a star. We'll do an approach. We'll do no via as well. So that'll be our secondary return, our perf data. All we care about is approach. And we should have our altimeter still set 3003, 30.03. Temperature off the ECAMs, getting toastier, 27. And the wind is a tailwind, so theoretically we could put that in there, 240 at 10. We'll put that in there because that hurts us instead of helps us. So we'll put that in there. And it was like 4420 or something like that in the barrel. RNAV02 is set. Boom, that's the secondary. RadNav page, we are going to hard tune the Toncontin VOR. TNT is set, the one that right there, 2 miles. Progress page, MHTG, again for this particular departure, I want to know where the center fix of the airport is. I don't want to know where the VOR is or where the runway is. I want to know exactly where the middle point of reference is of the airport, just for my situational awareness. That is set. Cruise altitude is 350. That looks good. Perf data is fine. And NIT B, we are done fueling, right? 10.6 of 10.6 in the tanks. Double check our fuel. Is it balanced? It should. It'd be really cool if they had like a small percentage of extreme fuel imbalances. We'll get our pumps on. Boom, boom, boom. Seatbelts on. And that can go away. And we have 10.6 in the tanks. 10.6 set. Uncage U. Can you fly to Area 51? We are on the South America tour, so that would be a negative, Ghost Rider. And I guess you're probably just a troll, so you're done. You are done. All right, that is set, and 35 for the top altitude. 35 set. Boom. Put the VOR over here for Phantom 320. It's probably going to start getting hot in the cabin. What is out there? It's 22 already, but that's all right. We'll let it do its thing. Look at the visibility is getting nicer here as the sun gets up, continues to burn off. All right, where are we at? We are ready for our departure brief. Let me see if I can reset Fly Live for you guys here. I'm going to do that. Go in here. I got to reset FSU IPC. I think I do. Where is it? There it is. Alright, we're going to disconnect you. We're going to disconnect you. And we're going to reboot FSU IPC. I wish you could preserve your environments in the box if you're doing a turnaround. Yeah, they will drop out, Jeremy. They will drop out. But if you copy your active, like say you're doing a secondary, if you put all the perf data in the primary and you copy the active, it'll copy them over. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, it drops out, but it's not a big deal because you get new ATISes, right? New ATIS every hour typically, so it doesn't really affect us. You're going to be changing it slightly. All right, HTG, MROC, MROC, AVA. 357. Boom. And then theoretically, if I do this, yeah, look at that. We are rocking and rolling. Dave Kenny says, I love this. Thank you for letting us fly with you, Captain. Dave, it is my pleasure. I just want to shout out and thank you guys for sticking around the stream, sticking around for the turnaround. We already have more likes than viewers currently, which is always an awesome thing to see. I know we're obviously not at the peak viewership right now, but nevertheless, it's always good to see those numbers jiving. That means you guys enjoy the content. And again, I appreciate the new subscriptions and stuff. I've put subscriber mode on for chat just because there's so many troll bots out there. So you can unsubscribe at any time, totally free, no cost to you, COVID-free subscription button. So I do appreciate everybody tuning in. Shout out to you guys for enjoying this stuff because I'm having a good time, even though I'm completely sweating. And it's super hot in my office right now because there's no air conditioning. A little funny note about that as we wait for the boarding to continue here, and then we'll get to our departure brief. So yesterday I was cooking ribs on the smoker, and I like to mist my ribs, and I used a little bit of beer and apple juice to keep the ribs nice and moist throughout the smoking process. Makes a nice bark. Well, today I had the genius idea of taking a spray bottle to the office so I could keep myself cool with a little bit of just a little water misting. So I rinsed out the spray bottle, but apparently I didn't rinse it out good enough. So when I sprayed myself, I basically sprayed myself with beer remnants, and it smells like old warm beer. Not very pleasant. But we're still here. We're rocking and rolling. We are set up for our second leg. This is the final leg of today's stream. We're going to San Jose, Costa Rica absolutely beautiful place to visit. I'm actually really thinking about going there here for a little vacation coming up. So, Crow says, I got my question lost in the turn. Sorry about that. Who decides who flying, pilot monitoring? You as captain or airline? Crow, most of the time it's going to be dependent on the captain. But generally, the way it mostly is done is the captain will fly one leg. Whether he flies the first one or the second one doesn't really matter. You guys can work that out. And then the next leg would be the first officer's leg. And then the next leg would be the captain's leg. So for me personally, when I was a first officer, I actually enjoyed watching the captain take the first leg, because then you can see, like, you know, obviously you have SOPs and everything is standardized, but sometimes there's little teeny things that are different, and it's good to see. I always enjoyed it when the captain took the first leg. I don't know why. So I tend to take the first leg now that I'm a captain. I'll say I'll just fly the first one out. But if I really don't care, which is a lot of the times, I'll ask the FO. I'll be like, hey man, you got any preference? Sometimes if you join a trip and the first officer's already been flying and you haven't been flying, I'll just I'll say, are you tired? Like, did you fly in, or you want me to take it? It doesn't really matter. It's a very cordial thing. I really have no preference, barring an airport that is a captain only landing airport or takeoff airport. Then it just kind of depends on who wants to fly which leg. Now, if you're an FO, that's an extreme pain in the butt. You may not fly the fun legs. I might fly the fun legs, but it's just part of the benefits that come with being in the left seat. But yeah, for the most part, super cordial. Just sometimes we play altitude golf. So, for example, it's hard to show you on stream here, but what we would do is we'll set this to like 100, right? And I'll say, okay, the closest one to 10,000 gets to fly the leg. And you just go up here, you only get one spin, and you spin it as hard as you can with one spin, and whoever gets close to 10 wins. And then they get to fly the first leg. So that's altitude golf. That's a super secret real-world technique that you guys learned only here on the V1 channel. So altitude golf is sometimes how we decide who flies the leg. But where were we? Going to 350. 350 is set. Go ahead, and our departure time was what? Off block in 10 minutes. So we're 10 minutes prior. Let's go ahead and fire up the APU. And at this point, we're probably done with the aft. They're probably done. They're probably done pulling chocks and cones. They're probably done with the forward and aft cargo doors. We'll close the rear door, but we still have the GPU hooked up, and we're closing up. Things are coming to life here. You can see that as the cargo doors closed, the accumulator pressure went up on the hydraulic plate because they used the yellow electric pump to close the cargo doors, which will increase accumulator pressure, but it will not pressurize the PTU, which is really neat to see that simulated here. Totally awesome stuff. All right, we'll go ahead and turn on that. We'll listen to the startup. APU bleed for takeoff again. Jeremy, what we'll do is we'll do a traditional, how about we do this? We'll do traditional packs off takeoff. So we'll shut off both packs. I flew into MROC in real life. Didn't do the circle though. Nah, man. Yeah, Richland, don't get pulled over. Yeah, I don't want to get pulled over. I was one of those I like to call critical oversights on my part, because when I rinsed out the spray bottle, I didn't rinse out the juice that was primed up in the sprayer. So yeah, I got a full dose of stale beer and apple juice on the face. But it is approaching 97 Fahrenheit in my office space right now. So for the rest of the world, 97 Fahrenheit is, and this is in my office. This is like what I'm sitting at, 36 degrees Celsius right now where I'm sitting. 36 degrees Celsius. I am toasty. But the show must go on, my friends. It reminds me of instructing back in the day. Okay, let's disconnect properly here. So if I show you the APU page, I did this before, really cool. APU is on, it's a Vail, 115 volts, 399, basically 400 hertz, 100% on the end speed, 350 EGT, zero load on the APU. If we load the APU by removing the external power push button, you will see the EGT increase because the load on the APU is increased. How can you stand that temp without aircraft? Man, it's brutal. Hey, oh, sorry, give me 1 second. All right, we're back. All right, that is not North Texas heat. This is your 3090 working. Exactly. Yeah, that doesn't help the situation. All right, so 41% load. Look at that. EGT has come up. And now if we actually introduce bleed on the engine, you'll see the end speed come down. So we're going to go bleed mode. And this will drop to 99%. Here's the bleed valve just opened. And sometimes, there it goes. And even more EGT. Look at that. So full simulation happening. Which fuel tank feeds the APU? Jeremy, I want to say it's the left wing tank. I could be wrong. I'd have to look it up. That's a great check ride question. I want to say it's the left wing tank. The only reason I'm saying that right now is because I think the last time I flew the airplane with the APU required to be on, I had to balance fuel left. I think it's the left tank. I could very well be wrong. I'd have to look it up. Maybe someone in chat knows. Maybe Gustavo knows. But that's a great question. I want to say it's the left center or left wing. I don't know. All right, how much of that temp is the 3090? Probably quite a bit of it. Are we done boarding it? Not quite. So now with the GPU off bus, if you look up top, we got a veil and a veil. We got 2 greens. You're good to go. You're good to disconnect ground power. So they'll give me the signal outside. The GPU has been pulled off, and you can look up here, and it is no longer available for use. So we are completely isolated now from that system. I'm going to put this into nav position 2 just for why not. We'll pretend that Phantom 320 is flying this leg. Oh, yeah. Fake pilot moment. Right there. APU. There we go. Sculpture shock, yeah, you wouldn't think I'd be type rated in the Neo or the Airbus, but yeah, there you go. APU. Where's it coming? Left fuel tank. And look, we've actually taken 10 pounds from this unit here. So, boom. Did not see that. That's just the heat getting to my brain, I think. All right, so everything is done. Let's take a quick look at our departure procedure on the Jeppesen for Toncontin, and then we're going to roll. We're going to do a packs off takeoff too, so I don't want to forget that. In fact, remember, whenever there's something weird that we got to do, I like to pull this down. Lets me know I'm forgetting something or not. I don't want to forget something, so we're doing a true traditional packs off. A departure, only have one chart here, going off of 20, basically straight out. And are we making the left turn to Vitan? I think we are. Let me zoom out the range. Oh no, we're actually going to make a right turn. So we're going to go, according to this, we're going way out, but I'll tell you right now, we'll probably, yeah, we might fly it for terrain. You can see here that gets you out of the valley, then you turn right for TG03, and then we go out this way to Libis. That's our departure fix out there. So this is our traditional, this is our route here. Change that to green. We're going to go this way. I wish I could change the opacity on that. Cool. Stop drawing. Oh, that's rotate. Nope. Stop drawing. Couple restrictions. It shouldn't be a problem. We pop one. We're going to go with the special engine out SID, which we're basically just going to avoid terrain, speed up, clean up, come back around. As far as taxi out, it's very simple. We're going to taxi straight out to 02, and we're doing a flaps. What are we going to do? Let's see what it gives us here. I want to see complex failure on the Phoenix with Phantom. Jeremy, me too. It will come. I promise you. Optimum flap, flex is off. So we're forcing Toga. Anti-ice off. Packs off. We'll do a prelim just for fun here. What's the live weather? What is it going to give us flap-wise so we get an idea? So if we do a packs off, takeoff, we're still doing a flap 1. Look at that. 116 and 140. That's that high density altitude coming into play here. So We need to be able to stop the aircraft when we hit 116 knots. That's it. We are going. We are committed. That's a long way between 116 and 140. That would definitely perk my interest as far as takeoff brief. Okay, but that is pretty much set. How are we doing on packs? Flaps 3 just for the fun, for the poor climb. Should we? I could run it with flap 3. It's also more cinematic that way. We're almost done boarding. Let's play around with it. Gustavo brings up a good point. If we were to force it to flap 3, let's do a calculation here. We'll probably have much lower VR. Yeah, look at that. Oh, look at this. Topo limit, aircraft too heavy for the conditions, runway selected. We couldn't even do it. 26, 34, 38, flaps 3. Wow. Okay. So optimum, what about flaps 2? Could do a flap 2, 121, 135. That's a little bit more forgiving. We could do a flap 2. Let's do flap 2. We'll set up for a flap 2 on the prelim. Looks like we're going to be down 0.2 as well. So we're looking, I don't know. Let's do optimum because I like seeing that big, I don't know, it's kind of neat seeing that V1 come way early. So optimum with flap 1, 116, 140. Although that's kind of, I don't know, man. 140 on the, that seems like a short runway. Let's do flap 2. I'm not too concerned about popping one. All right, so our prelim is set. We're going to plan on flap 2, packs off. And we already got our regular flight plan, which is set. That is done. And I'm going to put this on the flight plan page. Now we're just waiting for passengers to finish boarding. We might actually be late on this one. Looks like that Airbus got out of here. Oh, he's taxiing to the runway. He's taxiing out. All right, I'm out of coffee. Water is getting low. Flap 0, that would not be good, Ben. I don't think you'd be able to get out of here at the flap 0. No bueno on that. Do it based on the final. I'll do a final load. We'll see what happens here. We should be almost done. We should be almost done. If you look at the load sheet, 147. Yeah, there's only 7 people left. So let's go ahead and connect the ground guy as well. Anyway, he's connected. Looks like they just closed the door. Auto jetway simulation apparently when I thought I had that off. Why did it stop boarding when I connected the tug? I think it's still boarding though. I thought I just switched. Let's see if that number changes. Yeah, it's still boarding. I don't know. There's some kind of glitch when you connect the tug. Do I have a mini fridge in my office? I do not. Not yet. Flap 2, you were 141,000 pounds limited and the takeoff weight is 139. Oh. Was it? Oh, let me see. Try 3 is in kilo. Ah. Let me wait for the final, and then I will try a flap 3. We'll see what it is on the final. I should have been on 122.8 as well. That always resyncs. I need to get an audio panel. I really do. I don't have any space for it, though. 122.8 is set. Oh, we were on one. Were we on one? I don't know. So he's getting ready to take off. I think we're going to be late on this one. We'll blame it on Phantom for the delay code. Connecting the tug gets rid of chocks because it's a signal to disconnect everything. Okay. All right, boarding is complete. We've got 127.4 with 30.1. 127.4 and 30.1 on the CG is set. Will give us some numbers here. 23 minutes extra gas. Beautiful. Let's go back to our takeoff calculator. And we're going to sync the final load sheet, 137.5. And sync live, calculate. Let's see what it'll give us here for the max. Hey, aircraft too heavy. 137. 61.9. Is that still within limits? I'm going to let Gustavo calculate that for me. Let's commence the pushback. Brakes released. Straight back we go. We're out of here. And we missed him takeoff. Dang it. There he goes. Nice. He used up all that runway. That's 136. All right, so we're going to do everything against the book here. We're going to follow Gustavo's recommendation of really penalizing the aircraft with the flaps 3 takeoff. And if we pop one, 136.7, ooh. All right, we'll do flaps 2. What the heck? We'll do flaps 2. That way, we're semi-legal. We'll be semi-legal with flaps 2. I wish you could send it off and have it populate the McDo. That would be the way to do it. All right, that's close enough. I can turn out from here. We'll stop. Pushback complete, set brakes. Brakes set. Clear to disconnect. Show me the pin out front. All right, so he's going to disconnect. We never turned the beacon on. That's another no-no. And get rid of him. Final set of speeds for flaps 2, 19, 30, and 31. 119, 130, and 131, flap 2. And let's go ahead and fire them up. I'm coming to your home airport? Awesome. Starting 1, here we go. Sounds are up. Enjoy the startup. I'm going to log into my Razor Synapse after the stream and see if I can do some tweaking with that. Maybe there's something conflicting there. We have a super short taxi out, so let's go ahead and fire up number 2. How do you choose which engine to start with? Is it always 1? We always start number 1 first. Now, there's nothing wrong with starting number 2 first if you're going to start number 1, but you can't. You are not supposed to single engine taxi on number 2 only. You can. And if you have to do it operationally, you can, but it is not recommended to single engine taxi on number 2 for multiple reasons. I had our company procedure, and pretty much every airline in the U.S. is start number 1 first. Single engine taxi is very common here. But I did have an Airbus engineer on the jump seat one time, and I picked his brain all about it. And he's like, "We would have switched the engines if it wanted you to start 2 first." I mean, he said, "Just start number 1 first." So. Start number 1 first. That's how we do it in real life. I know there's other airlines that start number 2 first. As long as you're not going to single engine taxi, it's not a big deal. Spatial sound increase to start up a little for you. Interesting, Blue Mac. Interesting. All right, that's off. That's set. We said flaps 2, so let's go ahead and pop those out. You didn't crash on a F-2727, the F3 is not that far from limit. 1,000 pounds overweight, you burn on the roll. Wow. Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, you're going to be you burn a heck of a lot of fuel on that takeoff roll on a 7.2. All right, that is set. What does our company message say? It's probably just our final ATSU received. Man, I cannot wait for a multi-crew with Phantom. Here's our final. I just care about fuel and tanks. 10.6, accept, boom, done. After start, We already did that. We already did that. We're doing a true PAX off takeoff, so we're going to shut the APU off. That should have been an auto. Taxi light is coming on. Toncontin traffic, Avianca 357, taxi on runway 02, Toncontin. Brakes released, let's roll. Tiller cam, it's coming up. A little differential thrust on this one. All right, we don't want to clip that other Neo there. Let me just make sure we go in heat view here. Oh, my ears. Yeah, we're fine. We're not going to clip him. That's why you want to be paying attention. Look how tight that is. Man. All right, let's do a flight control check. Full up. Full down. A neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Let's try this. Pedal disconnect. That disconnects me completely. So let me go back to the sim settings. Controls, pedal disconnect off. All right, so now if I press that, full left, full right, neutral. Okay, that worked good. That's fine. There we go. So that seems to work. All right. Flight controls are checked. We're down 0.1. That is set. Auto brakes max. Takeoff config checked. Weather and PWS, it's on, auto, TARA, for the TCAS, and we are good to go. Can you comment on those message boxes next to the lower ECAM? You mean these? Can I fit down that taxiway? Oh, I clicked off my screen while taxiing and locked my nose wheel. That is probably the biggest, that's my biggest pet peeve right now. It is a groundbreaking bug that when you click and drag the camera around, if you have brakes applied, it just locks them. You have to recycle the brake pedals. It's the stupidest thing ever. I hope we don't hit this little house over here. I'm going to cheat to the left. Toncontin traffic, Avianca 357 going to line up on 02, Toncontin. Yep, since we use dual axis for rudder tiller, that should be deselected. Okay, phase 1, thank you. I think maybe they need to rename that in the EFB, because it seems like pedal disconnect tiller, that means, yeah, I have a pedal disconnect button on my tiller. Interesting. Joel, the middle mouse wheel doesn't register on my mouse, so I have to get a new mouse. But yeah, I have heard of that. I might bring a different mouse from home next time, if I remember. Look at that. I cannot line this airplane up. I don't know. It just doesn't, I don't know. I suck at it. Maybe the nose wheel turns too fast. All right. That is set. We did everything else. We are ready. Are you ready? Terrain on. Let's get some yogas in chat, shall we? Oh, PAX off. PAX off. Status, that's normal. That's our PAX off now, so you can see. PAC 1 and 2 is in-op. That is correct. And it's simulated that way. I just had a vehicle drive underneath the airplane. Gotta love Microsoft. Here we go. Spool them up 50. Nose forward on the stick. Jeremy, they're much better, I promise you. Yoga. All right, Mantoga SRS. Nav, auto thrust is blue. Thrust set. 100 knots. Check. V1. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. Nav it. Fly with. Definitely needed to start the turn earlier there. It's alright. Alright, so we're going to leave our packs off until we reach our acceleration altitude, which is now. There's a positive trend in airspeed. Thrust, climb, climb, auto thrust. We'll go ahead and go pack 2. We'll start the clock. About 15 seconds. There's F speed. We're going to go straight to flaps 1. Oh, wow. Look at that beautiful shot. And there's been about 30 seconds. We'd go right to pack 1. You want to wait at least 15 seconds before you get that second pack on. That way it's a little bit easier on your ears. Here comes S speed, flaps 0. A little bit of forward pressure, just like in real life. I love that. You'll notice that when you go to flap 0, as the slats are getting pulled in, the airplane's going to want to pitch up on you. And you have to add a little bit of forward pressure. And that's exactly how it behaves in real life as well. So, love to see that. Oh, these views are too good. We hand flew the last departure. Let's enjoy the views. We'll go autopilot 1 on. I got to enjoy this. We hand flew the last one. Let's take it in right here. I'm going to put you guys right into live cam so you can enjoy it with me. What's up, Captain Tom? Good to see you, man. Welcome. I should probably monitor my GPU temps, huh? Oh, look at that. The red on the flap track fairings, awesome. I love that little detail. Imagine this puppy with sharklets and IAE engines. Cannot wait for it. Looks like we had 10,000 feet, or they're starting to accelerate. Yes, we are indeed. So at 10,000. Wow, fake pilot confirmed. I never turned my landing lights on. Sorry, guys. It's the heat. Promise you. What do I use to change views? Nope, I just use the numpad to change views, man. Exclamation point wing view gives you a video on how I have mine set up exactly. The Fenix makes it very easy to set wing views. You're not locked in a cabin, so you don't have to modify any CFG files, but you want to set up your control bindings so that you can move through the cabin and set your view. I don't really know what my favorite LATAM liveries are. I don't know the different ones. I will be flying LATAM though pretty soon, probably on the next stream maybe. We'll have to. I normally put a vote up for the commercial members to pick a livery, so we'll probably do a livery vote on the next stream. Can you fly with missing a sharklet? Fun fact, Jeremy, you can. You can. You get a significant wake penalty. I think I told this story before, but for those that haven't heard it, so it wasn't a sharklet, but it was a wingtip fence, just like the one you're seeing here out this window. And we were set to take off. We were going to do, it was almost a full transcon. It was like Atlanta to LA, I think. So we had a lot of fuel, full airplane of passengers, and we're battling a headwind. So it was in the wintertime. Wintertime in the U.S., that jet stream comes down, you get a really strong headwind, so you're going to be burning a lot more fuel. So very heavy flight for an Atlanta-LA flight. And we're sitting there, we get ready to push off the gate, and we call for push, and all of a sudden, as we're pushing back, crunch. Did we just hit something? Yep. And we got pushed back into a catering truck that was... catering truck was parked in the right spot. Just the pushback crew, they were not paying attention, and they turned the airplane too quick, and it bent the wingtip fence very significantly. You could see it. And So I was thinking, wow, I don't know can we even go without it? I had no idea at this point. So obviously that whole thing, getting back to the gate and all that, was an ordeal in of itself, because the tug driver that was driving us into the truck, he just up and left. I think he knew he was going to get fired, so he literally just pieced out. Full send in the catering truck, and then he just left. So we were stuck there with a tug connected and nobody to talk to and a bent wingtip. To make this story short, we found out that you can indeed MEL the wingtip fence. However, there is a significant weight penalty associated with it. I think off the top of my head, I want to say it was 6,000 pounds, maybe it was 4,000 pounds. But either way, it worked out to the point that with the required amount of fuel that we needed, with the amount of people on board, we could not go. So we can't go with the 6,000 pound weight penalty. So we ended up having to cancel the flight. But the maintenance came out and they took the wingtip fence off. And you want to see a weird looking airplane, you see an Airbus with no wingtip fence or no sharklet, it looks very weird. I asked the guys, like, hey, can I have it? I actually wanted to keep the wingtip fence, but he's like, man, I would, but we have to keep it for FAA or whatever, because it's actually part of an aircraft damage thing. So they had to keep it for that. But how cool would have that been, to go home? I don't know what the hell I would have done with it, because I'm still flying. I'm not going to get on a deadhead and carry this giant wingtip fence with me. But anyways. All right, we're getting ready to go through transition altitude. We'll set standards, STD for you and me. 1, 2, and 3. Set. Let's see if we can straighten the line. Let's go ahead and just go direct Mike Golf Alpha. A nice little shortcut here. Mike Golf Alpha, direct to. Boom. Cooking with gas now. A320-100 had no fences. Yeah. But when you see one that has one side has a fence and the other side doesn't, it's very weird. Yeah, the very first year up, yeah, you're right. Yeah, the very first ones, they didn't have any. All right, so we'll zoom it out. Short flight today, another short one, but we've done 2. It's awesome. This approach is one I'm looking forward to the most. I'm actually going to prep it. We're going to have to really discuss this one, because the first time I ever got this approach, it was very, oh wow, they do that here. I wasn't 100% ready for it, but it was totally fine. But it has got crews in the past where if you have no idea what to expect and then they give it to you last minute, if you're not prepared, it could you could be in a position to be unstable and just have to do a go around. So we're going to do a full real world briefing of the Cirrus Circle 25 in MROC. But we'll do that once we get to top of climb. This is a mountainous terrain. This is a special qualification airport. Excellent, excellent. Let's go jump seat view. I'm going to bring these down to lighten up the cockpit a little bit. And that's, as boring as that may look with the big bright white light on the windscreen, that is pretty much exactly what it looks like in real life. Yeah, Crow, I heard that was coming in Sim Update 10. Yeah, it was Sim Update 10. I'll top off my water bottle here. I've had bad days at work, but never tug driver damaging a multi-million-dollar airplane kind of days. Yeah, that's a bad day. That's a probably guaranteed to be fired day. Original music, what is the difference between RMP and RMP AR? RMP has an AR is an arrival segment, and there are limitations on accuracy and performance monitoring. So I have a video. I did 2 videos on that. I will get a link for you right now. Oh, it's weird to go to YouTube and see my stream live on YouTube. That's kind of weird. Oh, no, I just clicked it. No, I don't want to watch my own stream. Videos. Let me see. I did 2 videos on GPS nav. All right, so I did part 1 and then I did part 2. I'm going to get them both for you. So there is part 1. I highly recommend watching that one. And then we get into approaches. And now remember, this is dumbed down for sim purposes. I guess I shouldn't say dumbed down. This is thinned out for simulation purposes. And this is based on using the toeless aircraft, which has obviously changed since these videos came out. Now you could probably still do some of it in the Fenix, but that gives you a rough flow down of RNP and RNPAR. How big was the wingtip fence? Santiago, it was much bigger than I thought. Probably, oh, I don't know, maybe 3 feet? 3 feet tall, top to bottom. Remember, the sharklet that you see out on the winglet, on the wingtip, is 8 feet tall. So it may not look that big from the passenger view, but that sharklet when it's out there, that's 8 feet tall. That's a big piece of metal hanging off the airplane. And it also increases the wing length overall span by about 3 feet on each side. So it's about 6 feet. So you go from 111.10, which is 111 feet 10 inches, to 111.10, 118.5, I think. I should know that, but again, my brain is melting. Adam, you're amused I get surprised. You're surprised I get amused by SimView since I'm a real pilot? I know, man. Well, the funny thing is, Adam, my view most of the time is up here. And like I said, a realistic view right now is this, which is just the instruments and really bright lights, the shades down. So I never get to see these views, but these are the views that I saw as a kid, right? This is what got me loving aviation, was flying on airplanes, and this is what you're so accustomed to, is seeing. This is how we relate flying, is to the wing view. So even though I'm a real pilot, I don't see this view all that much. So it's nice to kind of see it in the sim. Have you ever flown to Lake Havasu? Pretty nice G8. Yes, I have, Matt. Many times, actually. Many times. Can you dispatch with a single missing wheel on a bogey? On a buggy? I'd have to look that one up, Rue. That's a good question. I've never seen it. But there is what? I've seen an Airbus with like double trucks down there, with double trucks before. I can't remember which country it was. I'd have to look. I doubt it, Rue. At least for passenger ops, you may be able to repo with it, but I don't know. My initial instinct is no. Have I tried the Fenix and Pero? No, I have not. Air India, thank you. Yeah, that's the one I saw. Somebody posted a Discord photo of the Air India with the double wheels. Weird looking. Do you still reference your Gumps? Vince, good question. He says Gumps, he's meaning gas undercarriage mixture props. Yes. No matter, even we have all our final checks, and you look here and landing all green. When I come over the numbers, Vince, every time I look here at least to just check, make sure I got 3 green. That's one of my, there is no mixture, there is no props, but every time I come across the threshold or I'm at 100 feet, I just double check here. Or there's probably, by this time, it's probably like a quintuplet check, because coming down the approach, I'll look up here, make sure we're checked. We've already done our landing checklist, which already has the gear down. This is already green, but it's just ingrained in me so hard that, yeah, you come over the numbers, I just did take a sneak peek over here, make sure I do have 3 greens. Jeremy says, I've heard about recent incidents on the 320 where the nose gear would rotate 90. Yep, JetBlue. On approach, and the wheel would be sideways. Exactly, Jeremy. And there was we got a lot of memos about that. I think there's a different type of mod on the nose. Depending on the aircraft, you can have a slightly different structural composition of how the nose gear works or the linkage works. And if you have an aircraft with that mod, you have to just pay special attention to that. I don't know why it happened, or I don't know the mechanical background of why that happened, but yeah, it's talked about. We go over it in ground school. We talk about landing with we actually have a whole procedure for that in the comm for landing with nose wheel cocked at 90 degrees or nose wheel not straight or something like that. We actually have procedures for that that walk you through it. But yeah, I remember watching the one, what was it, JetBlue in LA? I would love a man cave with a collection of wingtip fences on the walls. Blueberry, you and me both. Not only wingtip fence, I like wingtip fence, a sharklet, maybe a window. I know there's a gentleman in the Discord, he's got a MD-80 seat. He's got a A320 window panel. It'd be cool to set that up in the V1 HQ at some point. Did you ever have the sim session for the icing and AOA at high altitude when you have to deselect one of the adders? Is that Gustavo? Is that kind of like the Air France 447 recreation? I have done that. And you force it into or alternate law. Yes, if that's what you're referring to. Yeah, acing and the AOA at high altitude. So that's kind of what started the Air France 447 debacle. Was they flew into that extreme icing and it started getting conflicting info. Kind of similar to how the Max is if you think about it. King Air prop in your man cave? Oh, I'd like one of those too, man. Mentor did a video on this. There were apparently a bunch of different incidents on the JetBlue, after JetBlue, all for different reasons. Yeah, sad. I haven't watched that, but I definitely believe it. Seems like it's a smooth ride, short flight. We'll turn off the seatbelt sign prior to cruise altitude. Let's come down here. We'll go into our rad nav. I'm going to clear out TNT. We don't need that. We'll go to our prog page. I'm just going to put MROC in there for now. Perf data is fine. Secondary, we're going to copy the active. That is done. Passengers are chilling. We are leveling at 350. What's our optimum? 30 and 36. Oh, we're good. Similar, the AOA is froze and the aircraft pitches down because of a anticipated stall. Yeah, yeah, we've done that, Gustavo. Yeah, because it's thinking it's in stall, so it's pushing you down. Yeah. Yep. Yes, indeed. That's a that happened to what, a Qantas 320 guy? I think that happened to Qantas without training. Like they didn't train for that, and then it happened to him, and now we trained for it. At least something similar. You just scored a taxiway sign? Nice. Theory DeBell, welcome to Private Pilot. Glad to have you on board. Theory DeBell, exclamation point, welcome for your new perks on the channel. Always welcoming new members here. Glad to have you on board. Welcome. Would you put in the route of the alternate takeoff in real life? Would you put in the route to an alternate? Yes, if you have a takeoff alternate. That would depend if you have a takeoff alternate. If you have a takeoff alternate, then you will put the route in there. Oh, my favorite Latin American livery. You know what? I really do like this old Avianca livery. I really do. Another one, I really like the Goal. The new Goal livery on the 737 with the gray engines. I really like those gray engines. I think they look really good. That's a notable mention. I think Azul has some cool ones. I don't know if I have a favorite yet. Maybe by the end of the tour, I'll have a favorite for you. Remember the Air Asia, the crash in the ocean? They had an issue but flew into a cumulonimbus. Yeah. Was that... there was one was it Air Asia where they pulled the circuit breaker that they weren't supposed to pull? And they thought they were, like, there was no direction to pull a certain breaker, but they pulled it anyway, and then I wonder if that was the one. Ooh, the old Mexicana livery is nice, too. Yeah, the Mexicana livery is nice. Yep. Have I ever looked up the TACA livery from before they merged with Avianca? I don't believe so. Well, that's interesting. That zoomed in with my hand, not even on the mouse. That was kind of scary. I'd have to look up the old TACA livery. Etihad 340 had the same failure as Air France 447. Daytime and the hand flew 4 hours. Wow. That's why we're up there, right? I mean, we're not up there for when everything goes right. We're up there for when things go wrong. All right, how far are we to 219? It's probably never too early to start getting the perf data anyway. AOC, receive, let's do weather. MROC. I guess we can get a couple tunes going here while we need a minute to just chill. We'll send that away. Any liveries I don't like? I don't like bare white liveries with just the name on them. I think that's a it's kind of a cop out. You know, I like something on the airplane. Like I like this red swoop. I also really like painted fuselages, or like the belly paint. I really like belly paint on airplanes. I think it looks cool. Would you consider moving to Dubai to fly the 380 for Emirates? Heck no, man. Heck no. A matter of fact, there's a lot of those guys that are coming back because they are just done with that nonsense. There's a lot of political nonsense that goes on with that. You don't even get a type rating. You actually get a license to operate. That way, if you peace out, you can't do it anywhere else. It's very different. Let's put it that way. Matter of fact, the airline I'm at right now, when I got hired, there were four Emirates guys. Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and mute this for a minute while they do that. Alright, seems to be back. Interesting. We got light rain, thunderstorms in the vicinities, 2999. Thunderstorm rain in the area. Well, that sounds fun, doesn't it? MROC. We may not even... Are we going to be able to do the Cyrus? Let's look at the approaches. ILS DME 7. We're going to pin that, and we're also going to pin the Cirrus Visual. Trevor says my first solo is coming up. Actually excited rather than nervous. Trevor, that's good, man. Excitement is good. You should be excited. That means you're prepared. It's a very special time when you get to do your first solo. No doubt. So I wonder if we can... I'm going to see if I do this in the secondary too. We're going to play with this one, indeed. Why didn't it save my starred charts? Oh, that's Toncontin, that's why. There we go. First and foremost, we'll set up for this. Captain Tom says the first solo, best day of your life. Heck yeah, man. First solo. You'll never get another first solo. Alright, ILS DME 7 for the Cyrus. Alright. We got a little time. We'll chill here. I'm going to stand up, take a quick break. Let you guys enjoy some views. Hit the head real quick, and then we are going to prep for our approach into MROC. I'll be right back, guys. Give me about 2 minutes. All right. How are we looking? Jump seat view. We'll talk about it. Ooh, what's our company message? Uh-oh. Send ADC for 3-minute delay. See ADC delay card on company tablet and allocate as per OMB blah, 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 and assign free text if possible. Okay, well, you want to talk to me like that, Mr. Dispatcher? Okay, ADC delay code. Let's see, what were we delayed for? What do we blame it on? It was boarding, right? Tug broken? Well, jetway was broken because they pushed off without us. GPJ, we're going to blame it on that. Jet bridge broken. Fix your stuff. Done. All right. Ooh, looks like we have traffic in front of us. 700 feet or so below. Oh, it's about 1,000 feet below. Probably just different altimeter setting. Or no. Oh, company message already. No code for Phantom 320. ADC received. PH Phantom delay. I like that. I'm going to use that from the future. All right. Delay code has been done. 6.4 on the fuel. Time to destination 146, 2026. 26 minutes out. After this song, we are going to clean it up. Wow, look at that. What volcano is that? What island is that? Somebody who is more graphically professional than me. Where is that? That's awesome. Company message K. Absolutely. What was the 4 Emirates guys were saying? Oh yeah, they were tired of putting up with it, man. It's very challenging, very demanding. It's especially as an expat. I mean, they were expats, right? They're Americans going over there to do the job. It's not what it's all hopped up to be. It's very different than what you may get here in the U.S. So they just were tired of all the nonsense. Isla Nubla. Use the map on the EFB. Do you have to leave auto thrust on landing as for SOP? Nope. GD, we can turn it off anytime. We can dispatch without auto thrust. It's annoying. All right, that was a beautiful ending to that song as we look at Isla Nubla. Jeez. Let's get it ready for approach here. So, outer tank fuel transfer. That means we got approximately a little less than an hour of fuel on board. We got 6,400 pounds, burning neo fuel burns of 2,000 pounds an hour, so we're looking good. Omet P Island. All right. Okay, let's set up for this approach here. Let's take a look at this. So I'm going to go through the company procedures first, and then we're going to talk about how we're going to build this in the box. And again, this could vary, obviously, from different company ops or whatever, but I'm going to do it for how we have it assigned for us. So, obviously, engine and operative missed approach guidance refer to the complex special engine procedure, engine failure during takeoff or go-around. We will have to work about that. Expect to receive TIO at 35 DME. Expect the bar 3 Papa arrival, which I think that's what we're on. Let's see. Approach to 07. Expect irregular RA automatic callouts. Expect a change to runway 25 as late as Monty intersection. Be prepared for the Circus Visual runway 25. So even though you're on the ILS 7, they want you to be prepared for the Circus Visual 25, which is what we are going to fly today. For the ILS DME 7, caution on the missed approach procedure. Be advised some FMS computed solutions may cause the aircraft to exceed the missed approach restriction of 116 radial due to insufficient bank angles being commanded at 200 knots. Crews may need to intervene by increasing up to 30 degrees of bank and or reducing safe airspeed below 200, including delaying configuration changes to ensure the aircraft does not exceed the TIO 116 radial. Now that's for a go-around off 7 or missed approach off 7. We're landing 2.5, so it doesn't really apply to us unless they give us that. Now, that's an important note, though, because that's talking about, aircraft performance, right? If it wants to go up of 200 knots, you're not going to be able to meet those turn requirements, and your radius of turn is not going to be able to meet the requirements. So you have to do what? Manual intervention, or delay the configuration change, because if you keep the flaps out, your speed's going to be lower, you're going to have a tighter radius. So just keep that in mind. Now, for the runway 25 briefing, which is in all red, for guidance on the Cirrus Visual, refer to the airport briefing page, which we have in our company ops. FOQA alert for unstable approaches. So it is a highly unstable approach that is flowing here. We've got a lot of data on that. At night, it is not approved, so you cannot do the Cirrus Visual 2.5 for night landings. So how we're going to set this up is I'm going to try to build it in the secondary. We got another company message. That's interesting. But we also want to start down. So I'm going to set, let's go back, Phoenix and JEP. I want to at least come down. We're going to set 10,000 for now to at least start us down. We're going to deal with that either, but we'll get on profile. There's our decelerate. 10,000 is set. Thrust idle, descent, seatbelt sign is coming on. Love hearing that bass rumble. What do we have here? What did I do now? Watch like Amir or something be tracking all of the dispatch messages. Oh. Thank you. Appreciate it. We are good. I guess they got the message. That auto JetBridge disconnect cost us to be late. We're good. Al W, what's up, man? Welcome. Yeah, we're just getting ready to set up here. So I'm gonna load. I'm gonna do this. Couple things first. I'm gonna go secondary. I want to clear my secondary, so I want to delete the secondary, and now we're gonna initialize the secondary from MROC to MROC. So I'm gonna build a completely different secondary here. This isn't really here in real life, but I'm gonna do that. All right, so now in our secondary flight plan, I wanna load arrival, and what you load is the straight up 2.5 centerline fix. No star, no via, okay? So now if I go to my plan page and I scroll down to MROC and then I go secondary, you could see I now have a nice extended centerline for 2.5. Beautiful. So what else can we do? We can actually throw in some waypoints, and if you want to see the chart, this is the Cirrus Visual 2.5 and the secondary. We've got Cirrus, Belin, Ipabe. So let's go ahead and start building that. Let's put Cirrus, Belin, and Ipabe in there. Let's see if we can build it. So it is CYRUS. Which is the 86-mile away one. And then from Cirrus, we're going direct to Belin, which is BELEN. The one that's 88 miles away. And then Ipabe, which is EPABE. The one that's 89 miles away. Vitor, awesome, man. Thank you, dude. I appreciate the additional dispatch. All right, so this is important to note here. I want to get down. Let's put the altitudes in it. So Cirrus is mandatory speed of 160 and a 4,000 foot altitude. Put that, and that's obviously on descent. Belin also has a speed constraint. Or it doesn't have a speed, excuse me, it has an altitude constraint of 4,000, so we're going to set that here in the descent. That is set. And Ipabe has a mandatory of 4,000 as well, so 4,000 in the secondary. Now, remember, this is all in the secondary because we are theoretically set up for the ILS Zulu 7, but we are expecting a last-minute change to the Cirrus Visual, which is the worst-case scenario if you think about it. But it's not even that bad. It's just If you're prepared for it, it's a non-event. If you're not prepared for it, it can become what we call asses and elbows, and it just not very good. So now we've got all of our fixes. Cirrus, Beelan, Apabe. Now what you'll notice, and it's kind of weird here because this isn't exactly how it would overlay in real life. These numbers and stuff would be spaced out so you could read them clearly. I think it's just a Phoenix thing or a ProSim thing. But I do not want to connect Ipabe to the centerline fix or to the runway because I don't want to have the aircraft do a smart turn and fly over, or excuse me, fly by the Ipabe intersection. I also don't want it to fly by Beelan, and if you look closely, you see how it's flying by, it's almost connecting this. We can make Beelan a flyover waypoint. And if I go overfly, put it on Beelan, now if we look at our secondary, which I gotta keep scrolling all the way down again, and then go into secondary mode. Now look at it. Look, that's so cool to see that. So now, just like before, this is not a fly-by, it's a flyover. We made Beelan a flyover waypoint, which that is how it's depicted on the chart. And theoretically, Apabe is also a flyover waypoint. So the flyover, overfly, put it on Ipabe. And I'm looking at my charts, but this is the same exact chart that I'm looking at in real life. This is the same exact one. And you can see, you see this, see these symbols? The triangle with the dot, that is a flyover waypoint. So you can't fly by. All right, so now that we have that in the secondary, that looks good. There's also final, which is if we go missed, or finale. So I could put finale at the end. Can I put it out here? FANAL. This is something I actually don't know. Let's see. If I put it after MROC, yeah. So now if we take a look, I think, yep, and there's finale. So now if we have to go around, we can nav it up, which is, if you look at the EFB, there's an option for like nav on go around. In this particular approach, if you get a go around, you are authorized to nav it up to the finale waypoint. And we have that set up. Now, according to the chart, finale theoretically is also a, you guessed it, overfly waypoint. So we're going to make it an overfly as well. Cool. Okay, so now we have altitudes and everything set up on the secondary flight plan, but we have our primary is already set. What do we have to be careful of, though? The secondary perf. Let's make sure that that is set. So we're going to go back to secondary. Maybe we can't do the secondary perf. Yeah, it won't let me do secondary perf right now, but that's fine. Okay, let's do our, we already did our initial perf, which is here. And according to the approach for the ILS Zulu, we could theoretically set 3162 in the barrel, and we could put our LS push buttons on because we're going to fly the ILS first, and then we're going to break off for the Cirrus Visual. All right, let's go ahead and set our altimeters, which is 2980 and the 1009. 2980 is set. We're coming out of 18,000. We've got 240 above 16 at 280. Everything is looking good. Airplane is on track. And now we can actually talk about how we're going to fly this, that we've got the airplane set up. Thrust idle, we're slowing down to our next VAP speed. Beautiful. All right. Doesn't show secondary perf because the NIT flight number is blank. Let me check. You might be right. You might be right. No, it should be another option here, yeah. Oh well, it's fine. Nothing to worry about. Let's actually look at how we're going to fly this now. And we're going to talk, we've talked about density altitude on the stream. We talked about higher true airspeed, higher ground speed, making it harder for your turn. But this is a particular approach where if you let the airplane manage you, and you combine the factors of wind gusts and high density altitude, you could trigger an alpha floor situation here. So let's brief the chart. Final approach, refer to the plan view, which is here. The ceiling visibility, we need 1,500 feet and 5 kilometers. The airport elevation is 3,000 feet, call it 3,100. Multiple sector altitudes, the highest one is 12.5 off to the eastern side of the airport there. Oh, I'm sorry, off of the TIO VOR. Missed approach climb to 7,000 and hold via segment of flight legs. Expect ATC instruction, okay. Max 160 knots. That's our max speed for this approach. We're going to be below that. In fact, if we look at our perf approach, we're going to be flying 134. Excellent. Double check the airplane. We're at a 15.6. We're looking good. I'm actually going to dial in a 6,000 for Cabra so we can keep coming down on profile. All right, what else does it say here? Cirrus crossing roads between this and San Rafael. That's what reporting point that is. Belin, there's a hydroelectric plant. At Ipabe, there's a wardware shop. Bridge crossing General Canas Highway. And Finale, there is an old hall out there. So those are your visual reporting points. Remember, this is a visual approach. You have to have visual landmarks to make this approach here. So I'm going to fly this, and we're taught to fly this in selected speed because when you're coming in here at 4,000 feet, if you try to make this turn, this is a very steep turn. It's a very short turn to final, and you're just doing it into ascending terrain. If you let the airplane fly managed speed at 134, as you increase bank angle, you are killing your horizontal component of lift. So in the Airbus, if you kill your horizontal component of lift, what happens? Well, the tiger tail, or VLS, is going to come up from the bottom of your speed tape, and it's going to bite you if you exceed it. So let's say you are in managed speed, the airplane's flying 134 knots or 137 knots, it's doing a good job, but then it goes to roll into this final bank turn, and you get a little gust of wind or it's turbulent. You are so close to that VLS speed when you're in such a high bank angle, you can trigger, and it has happened, an alpha floor event. Alpha floor is a predictive function, so you don't even you're not even going to enter a stall or a potential high AOA situation. It can just think, oh, you're getting very close, and the way this is trending, you will exceed the critical angle of attack, so I'm going to save you and activate alpha floor. What is alpha floor? Stall prevention in normal law. Basically what happens, the thrust is going to go to max Toga, and you're going to end up pitching up, because if you don't pitch up, a lot of bad things are going to happen. So if you trigger alpha floor on short final, you're going to be going around. It's a go around event, so you're like, all right, we got to go around. So to prevent alpha floor from happening, I am going to keep the speed in selected speed, and I'm actually going to make this turn at a higher speed than what you may think. So where VAP is VLS plus 5, you can put up to 15 knots on VAP and still be safe. So as long as you don't go over 20 knots VLS plus 20. So we could go all the way up to 149 if we want to, because 20 knots on top of VLS would be 149. So I'm going to select speed 100 and probably that. I'll probably select speed 149 until I make this final turn. As I start to roll out and I know my horizontal component of lift is going to be increasing, then I'm just going to go up here and go boop, manage speed, and then the airplane is going to continue to slow to its VAP speed on final. So we're going to be a little bit faster than normal, but with the airplane fully configured, it's not going to have any trouble at all slowing back down to the VAP speed. You don't like alpha floor? Yeah, I don't either, man. It's if you're not ready for it, it'll scare you. But it's pretty cool when you do see it. Okay, we're going through 10,000 feet. Let's go ahead and get our lights on. I don't know why that's not on. We don't have any ATC, so we're just going to get all our lights on. Everything is set. As we go through 10, we're also going to activate and confirm the approach phase so that this doesn't come to bite us. So we're going to go perf, activate, confirm. And I'm going to select speed 240. And theoretically, we're on the ILS Zulu, so we're going to keep this chart up first. Remember, we're going to transition right past, just before Monty, we're going to set up for the Cirrus Visual. So we want to be coming down 4,000 feet is a mandatory altitude. I will go heading mode. I'll put the aircraft on a heading. We're going to activate, confirm the secondary approach, and then we can re-nav it if we want, or we can fly it in heading mode, or we can hand fly it. But use all the tools available to you. We're going to let the autopilot do most of the flying here, but we're going to still do some manual flying as we get close to the final. Yeah, it's definitely better than stalling, Garud, and you're absolutely correct. So on the approach, any more speed restrictions? I think of 180, max 210 as we get in here close. So we can probably start, it's our outside air temperature, plus 23. I'm actually going to go open descent, 6,000. Ah, dang it. Open descent, thrust idle, open descent, speed brake is coming out. Let me get flight recorder ready. Flight recorder is ready. I want to get down on profile. All right, let's say Avianca 357, you are 5 miles from Cabra intersection, cleared ILS Zulu runway 7 approach. All right, cleared ILS Zulu 7 approach for Avianca 357, glide slope blue, lope blue, Cat 3 dual. Everything is setting up for normal ILS approach. I'm going to immediately come back to 180 knots here before the thrust comes up. We're going to start slowing down. Let me do a quick landing distance assessment. We're going to do good to medium, runway 25, apply METAR, and our landing weight is 133.2. We're going to do medium brake, full reverse, flaps full. What's low auto brake? We'll do low brakes. We'll let it roll. We'll do low brake, 6860. We'll do low brake is set. Oh boy. I have control. Auto thrust off. Wow. That's why you fly the airplane. Flaps 1. Autopilot back on. VFE next minus 10 flaps 2. Autopilot disconnected there because I had the speed brake out and I was slowing down to 160 and it did not like that. But proper behavior. Glide slope, Lodestar. We're looking good. Why am I using Cat 3 dual if I'm not preparing to auto land? Because you always set the airplane up for its maximum capability. That's why. Even if you're not planning on it, you always set it up for its maximum. There is a speed limit here, 160 knots, I think. We're going to come back to 160. All right, runway's in sight. About this point, you would hear Avianca 357, you're clear to circle for 25. All right, so heading, we're vertical speed. I'm going to go, this would be good if I had an FO, activate secondary. P-pause, direct to Cirrus, insert, manage nav, and I'm going to go 4,000. We'll keep it in vertical speed 1,000. All right, so now we are set up just like that. Look how easy that was when you have your secondary. You just pull heading, select secondary, activate, and we're ready to go. So we're Cirrus, 4,000, 160 knots. I'm going to go flaps 3 now. A little bit out of sequence because we want to be ahead of the game on this approach. These approaches are definitely more in the abnormal category. We'll go tiller cam on. There's a rain shower over there. This is awesome. And I actually want to start. I will start the recording at Cirrus.
2,500.
All right, so we're flaps 3, gears up, 160 knots, approaching 4,000 feet. We know it's 4,000 feet until Ipabe, and then it's a manual leg over. So I'm going to take a playbook out of a play out of Gustavo's playbook. I'm going to turn off FD2. That way, when I go to turn my own flight director off, it's the only one left. And enter desk data. That's interesting. That's because it didn't copy over. That's fine. We're 4,000, speed 160, 2980. And temperature was 24. And the winds, we'll just zero them out. Cool. There is no minimum for this approach. We'll set minimum autopilot altitude, so 320, 400 feet, plus our field elevation of 3,100. Let's set 3,500. 3,500 in the barrel. Ah, not 350. It would be underground. 3,500. There we go. 3,500 is set for a reference for the autopilot. We're 160 knots, and we're going to start the recording now. Recording has started. We're going to let the airplane nav this one up because we programmed it to do nav. So look at this. Oh, that is beautiful. There's a rain shower just past the airport. Oh man, this might be one of my new favorite moments in flight sim. We got to maintain this 4,000 here at what's this waypoint? At Bellin. We'll go ahead and go gear down, and I'm going to set my next lowest speed, which we said 149. I cannot wait to see this recording. It looks like he's already circling in front of us. MROC traffic, Avianca 357 on the Cyrus Circle 25 MROC. All right, let's go gear down. Speed brake is armed. There's the traffic. Let's go ahead and slow to 149. All right, I'm going to take control. Autopilot off. I'm going to leave the flight director on for a moment until we hit Ipabe, and then we are going to keep it in managed speed and go bird mode. We're just holding 4,000 feet here. Here comes Ipabe. So LS push buttons off, flight director's off, give me the bird. I'm going to start a nice gradual descent, and we'll go flaps config full. Remember, I'm going to keep my speed and selected speed here for the turn. See my engine's working. That's what you want to hear. I really wish I had track IR on. Looks like my extended center line went away. Just trickling it down, trickling it down. Keep coming down. Shallow out the bank a little bit there. We don't need that much bank. All right, I know I'm just going to be decreasing my my lift vector, or my bank, so my lift vector is actually going to be increasing now for the remainder of the maneuver, so I'll set manage speed. There's a runway. We're looking about on profile,
500.
maybe a tad high. Landing checklist, cabin crew advised, auto thrust speed, ECAM memo is landing all green. Landing checklist is complete. Nice little headwind here, 6 knots. Looks like ground speed mini is working too a little bit. A little bit high, we'll go ahead correcting. Sync rate is above 1,000, correcting. There we go, now we're coming down. Now we're getting in the slot. There we go, sync rate was amber, we'll check that. We're back in, we're looking real good now. No rad out calls,
40,
that's interesting.
30, 20, retard, 10, 5.
See, yeah, it doesn't really move the nose until the nose comes down. I pretty much confirmed that mode. Spoilers, reverse green, a decel. Let those reversers work. Yeah, in real life you have a Pappy there too. There's 70 knots. Manual braking. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to San Jose, Costa Rica. Hit the like button for that approach. My goodness. Thanks, sir. That was epic. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording now because that was a long replay to begin with. We'll take it to the gate. We are here. Turn off. These lights aren't here in real life, obviously. That's getting fixed in X-Plane or in Sim Update 10? I really hope so, man. Yeah, so I can guarantee you, at least that's what it's acting like. Okay, so obviously the lines are way over there, but what's happening is I'm putting in a rudder deflection when the mains touch down to get the nose over. Nothing is happening. As soon as the nose wheel touches the ground, the nose kicks off to the right or to wherever you have that input because it thinks you're steering on the ground. I don't know, it's weird. We'll go ahead and do a semi-cleanup here since we're going to be taxiing in for a minute. Debugger, this was awesome. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Glad you enjoyed the stream. It's been a long stream. Let's see, what time was it? 3:30? Not really. 3:30, 3.5 hours. Yeah, this is a little bit longer than normal. But, all right, we'll go ahead and resync that. I'm just going to leave the lights on.
Traffic.
Interesting. Oh, somebody just did a go-around. Oh, nice. Or took off. I don't know. That's cool. Bill, I think I do have PDC off. I turned it off for this flight, and it did the same thing. Unless it didn't save, but I turned it off on the taxi out. Yeah, pedal disconnect on tiller is off. Does the same thing though. Because see, I'm still steering, and this is correct. On the ground, without this pressed, I should be able to move the nose wheel. But what's happening is when you're landing, that nose wheel movement is inhibited above this, forget what speed. It's basically a linear, not linear, it's a degraded amount of travel as the speed increases over the ground. So it's based on your ground speed. So you have some nose wheel deflection, but above, I think like above 80 knots or something, the nose wheel does not move at all when you move the rudder pedals. So that's obviously not being simulated here. I think it's a Microsoft thing, but that's why that nose is darting off when you touch down because you have a rudder input. Fubar, thank you so much, man. Gustavo says, thanks for streaming today. I'm debugging the app that will be released tomorrow. Ooh, what app? Gustavo, thanks, man. Thanks for stopping by. Glad you enjoyed the stream, man. Always a pleasure talking. Next airport, can you do more MROC to SCQM? I'm not sure where we're going from here, but yeah, we're going to be departing MROC. So we are on the Latin America tour. We started in Cancun, went to Guatemala City, and we went to Honduras. Now we're in San Jose, Costa Rica, and we're only going to continue to go further south from here. These streams are the perfect break from ATPL studying. Thanks, man. This is a cool little freeway airport I downloaded off Flight Sim TO. Looks like there's an airplane in a hangar up here. I kind of want to see what that looks like. Russell says, don't spray yourself down before leaving the office. Have a great evening. Hey, thanks, Russell. Yeah, I will not do that. Ah, very nice, Gustavo. Cool deal. Yeah, this is a pretty, I think this is a really good, this is not, please don't crash. That would really suck, wouldn't it? All right, good. No crash detection on him. This is a nice little freeware here. Maybe a quick hop to Antarctica. Ah, look at that. That's neat. Oh, as I go off the taxiway here. Let me get back on it. I guess you guys don't need live cam. Oh, yeah, we're still driving. Well, that's a nice little airport. Gustavo, nice, man. All right, I'll be looking for it. Thanks, bud. All right, Mr. Wingo is parking there. I guess we'll park here at 17. Oh, there's somebody on final, too. Let's keep driving, because let's see how this guy lines up and lands. He's on the circle right now. There's somebody on the circle right now. Right there. Yeah, Al, I saw that bigger and got captain upgrade, man. Good deal. That's cool. All right, here's the 1,000-footers. Let's go ahead and crank it in. Let's see if we can park before he lands. That was real aggressive, but I wanted to watch this guy land here. These cameras suck. But, I mean, not every day that we have someone landing on the Cirrus. Take a look at it here. What is it, an Airbus? Looks like a, does look like an Airbus. Don't know why you have that camera up there. Coming in over the numbers. It's a Neo. Very quiet like a Neo. Ooh, right in the zone on center. Oh, did he bounce it? Oh, he bounced it. Oh, is he going in the dirt? He might be going in the dirt. He's off the center line. Oh, no, he's not. He's good. He got it under control. Oh. Ooh. That's not good. All right. Let's go into replay mode. Let's kill this. Let's go back to the cockpit cam. We'll disconnect from the VATSIM. Replay mode. I need to reconfigure. Spoilers are disarmed. We're going flaps full. And then as soon as the flaps go full, we'll go right into the replay. And then we're going to wrap it up, and I'm going to get out of here because I am toasty. Ground handling got him, exactly. All right. Let's take a look. Cosmic, like a glove. All right, so we have a long replay we'll watch at the very end. But let's go ahead and watch the circle. Oh yeah, right here. Let's watch the circle. Nice flap shake. Here we go. So that's Ipabe inbound. Start the turn. Just trickling down. Insert the numpad. On the numpad, there's a shortcut for drone cam. Oh, insert. Oh, really? Thank you. Yep, disconnected from VATSIM so we can watch the replay here. Oh, look at that with the rain right there. I mean, this, as a passenger, you're looking down at some very big buildings. I did the ILS 7 with the Cirrus Circle 2.5 just prior to Monty. That sim controller just sees V1 disappear and do the approach again. Yeah, I disconnected. We're good. Here we go. So here we go, starting to roll out of the turn. So that's that lift vector, right? As soon as I know I'm not going to be using any more bank angle than I already have, I'm going to manage the speed, let the airplane start to slow down to its final lap speed. Don't have to worry about VLS coming up to get you. Kind of goes back to the steep turn maneuvers as a private pilot. That's what you look for. I'm not sure why we get jip whizzes here. I think there's something with like the database and not true to the sim, but oh, that's awesome though. Look at the rain. Look at the rain clouds right there. Oh my goodness. It was a perfect weather for the Visual 2.5. Perfect weather. Chris Duper, exactly, man. I highly recommend this flight next. If you did Guatemala, you got to come straight here. This was actually a really fun flight. When you go Guatemala to Toncontin and then here. Oh, just awesome. A little bit of power up there. Got a little low. Just let her settle. Not sure what the rate was, but felt better than Honduras, that's for sure. And there she is. Outside view sound is ear piercing. Pause, wind it back. Let's watch the touchdown zone, the touchdown view from outside. Rate was 151. Just finished MROC to Cancun. Nice, Jeff. All right, coming in, a little bit of power. Power comes to idle now. Pull it down. Don't over flare it. Ooh, that was nice. See, on center line, and then watch. Boom, you see that? So, I had input, I had rudder input on the main touchdown, and there was nothing happening. Nothing happened. And then as soon as the nose comes down, it veers off. See, so right now I've got rudder input, nothing's happening. As soon as the nose touches, it knocks over. All right. Wow, what a picturesque view. Screenshot, definitely no print screen. That's awesome. All right, we're gonna wind it back. We're gonna wind it all the way back, what the hell. Resume. We're gonna get the music on. I'm gonna leave you guys with one full-length replay all the way in, and I am gonna get out of here. Unfortunately, I gotta look at the spoid brakes hanging up there. That's a good binding for spoid brakes being out. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in on this episode of the South America tour. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream, maybe learned something, maybe picked up a nugget here or two. If you have, hit the like button for me. Man, we're already over 500 likes. You guys are absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for that. Thank you to the new subscribers, the new members. Had a couple new members join the channel as well. You guys are awesome. Exclamation point welcome. Or, since the stream is pretty much over, make sure you sync your Discord to your YouTube account and check the community folder or the community tab for the channel. That's where you're going to find members-only content. So, thank you all so much for hanging out with me today on this lovely Tuesday afternoon. I will probably be coming back at you this weekend. Probably going to skip Wednesday, Thursday. Might be back on Friday. We might do a VA Friday. You know, that's the only exception to breaking from the South America tour is doing a VA Friday. We might do a VA Friday night ops with V-Spirit. We'll see. We'll see. But until then, guys, stay safe, stay healthy, have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm V1. See ya!